Joining us tonight is Jake Rattlesnake.
I like to go by Lord Rattlesnake or Lord Jake, most base chat of all the lands.
You don't have an argument. Present your paper or shut up.
Everyone's view is definitely inherently biased. So this is when debate becomes very interesting. I can hear what you're saying, but then I can see that you're dressed as a cat.
I'm a dog.
You said you like to go play fetch.
I have wolf, yes.
So how does that tie into your relationship? Like, what are you looking for if you're a dog? I think that John Jr. will be president one day. If I was a gambling man, I'd put money on that.
Founder of Rattlesnake TV, Jake. Man, I really appreciate it, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Rattlesnake TV debate night. Bit of a last minute one here for us today, but we've got Andrew Wilson versus Bob. This is going to be about a video that Bob made in regards to something that Andrew did. Bob, appreciate you having the cojones to come in and do the debate today. Andrew, appreciate you being here as well. Bob, if you want to give us a bit of an intro as to who you are and where we can find you, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. So you can find me at The Deranged Philosopher on YouTube. What I do is I make like philosophically oriented content. So whether that's purely philosophical analysis or philosophy with respect to how it will apply to like some political view or a debate review, that's more or less what I'm doing.
Fantastic. And Andrew?
My name is Andrew Wilson. I'm the host of The Crucible.
Fantastic, fellas. Well, looking forward to it. Should be a great, robust, hopefully wholesome debate tonight as well. We're going to get 5 minutes on the clock for Andrew to start with his opening statements. And starting now, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I don't get an opportunity to do hater debates all that often because most of my haters, big or small, know they are full of shit. And when they attack me, they know I'm going to tear their pathetic criticisms to pieces, and I'm going to do that tonight. Occasionally, though, we get one with limited self-awareness who thinks because I'm willing to engage with them, it's their shot at the big leagues, not realizing that I'm just going to annihilate their bad faith, ridiculous criticisms. This brings me to my current hater, though I'm not sure he's guilty of any of these things. This particular interlocutor made a video about me and, of course, tags me, wants my attention. Look at what I made about you, Andrew. Look. So I'm happy to bring these people on an off night, engage with them and the things they say and expose just how much they lie. They actually lie a lot, significantly. Now, my opponent here fancies himself a Phil bro. I went through some of his videos. He's going to be upset that I said he's lying. You saw his reaction. He was upset that he said he was lying in his video, but I'm about to play the proof. But first, I'm going to be charitable, and I'm going to point out that I do believe that lying requires intent. I believe misrepresenting on purpose falls into the category of lying. This is called a lie of omission. You can look up the definition for a lie of omission if you don't believe me. Now, we can define that lie of omission as much as my opponent wants to, but no matter what definition he pulls up, he's going to find out that the misrepresentations I'm about to show you have to actually fall into that. As a precursor, my opponent has to either admit he didn't watch context behind the clips I'm about to play, or he did watch the context around them and misrepresented them on purpose to call me something he knew I was not. This would be a lie of omission. And I don't see how it wouldn't be. The following is Bob's case for me denying ever being mean to women and then showcasing what he thinks is me being mean to women. I'd like to show you guys this video. Go ahead and pull that up if you don't mind, Mr. Jake. Is the argument from hypocrisy, the tu quo. The idea here is that Andrew Wilson is a hypocrite.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
No.
Now, I want you to watch very carefully right here as Bob selectively edits out this no statement right here. Me saying no. Watch again as the woman asks the question.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
No.
Now, Bob ends it right there, and then he launches in to this absurd collage. Watch as Bob misrepresents me over and over and over. You're too fucking stupid to understand.
You're a bit overweight.
But
Shush OnlyFans hooker. Shut up.
Stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Get the fuck up and get out.
Because your eyes are
out. You're going to be a 304 for the rest of your life. You need to cry. It's good for you to cry.
You sound like you're deaf and you're thinking like
Fuck out of here.
How about when you make fun of me, you look at me in my eyes.
Oh, man, look at your eyes. Happy Mother's Day, murderer. Fucking psychopath. You can go fuck scumbag.
You
know you're fat too.
You shit on me for crying.
No,
and you
I'm
say it's
done.
not okay for me
Yeah,
to fucking
good,
cry.
good. I'll shit on you. You know, I'm not shitting on you for crying, right?
You said, are you really fucking crying right now?
absolutely
And then you
should
said I
cry.
should fucking cry. So what? Make up your goddamn mind.
Good, cry. Good.
Yeah, I
So
fucking
first
will
of all, yes,
cry.
you need to. What you're doing is horrific. Good, cry about it. Cry more.
Hey, did I bring your family?
Older.
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
stupid,
It's because
go
I'm
for it.
better than you, Charlie.
No.
You go cry with your wife who gets by other dudes. So you're gonna go
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
with your wife who gets by other dudes. So
It's
You could
because
go
I'm
for it.
better than you, Charlie.
you're gonna go have your
Andrew,
wife get
hold on.
fucked by a bunch
Wait,
of dudes.
fuck, yeah,
Your
Andrew,
wife
let me
gets
on
fucked by
anyway.
everything on
Listen,
planet Earth.
listen,
you
don't put
fucking
your fake-
fuck. Your fathers are morally weak men.
They are morally weak, man.
I guess. Could I ask you?
You're just a typified eater. Like, I don't know what you're really bringing to the table. You're just kind of consuming resources.
She defends her husband.
Wait.
That's why she has one. Ultimately, I'm very much a very kind man.
You don't want to disclose because it's a little embarrassing.
Are you quiet?
Look,
strong
we're
woman.
not asking
I thought you were a strong
Look,
woman.
I hope you guys have a really good day. I'm leaving.
Hold on.
No.
You gonna cry?
Hold on.
I thought you were a strong woman.
All right.
Just get your ass out of the chair and get
I'm
the fuck out of
terrorizing?
the studio.
How is it
Shut up,
distraction?
and get out. Just get the fuck out.
Just
Stop
get out.
talking. Get out. Get out.
The offer.
Respectful.
I will fast track. I will quit because you've been at.
She took up a lot of space on that side of the table. Now there's room.
about
A lot of space.
everything. So
Okay, now there's space over there.
So far, we have two instances of hypocrisy. The first is that Andrew said he never treated a woman like shit before, and or that he's a kind of person. I'm treating these interchangeably. Then clearly, the clips show here that he has treated at least one woman like shit before.
Ah, yes. This was seriously skilled. This was really skilled philosophy by my opponent. So let's just note real quick what his claim is again, right? His claim is
that he has treated at least one woman like shit before, and or that he's not a kind person.
I claimed that I never treated a woman like shit before, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course,
Just
I'm
quickly, fellas, a bit over 5 minutes. Bob, are you happy for it to go a bit over 5 minutes? You can have the time as well.
done with the criticisms. Hang on. I'm
Yep.
almost done. Right.
Yep, Bob's happy with it. Let's go
Couple more
for it.
minutes here, Bob, because I think it deserves it. So, anyway, Bob says that I claimed that I never treat women like garbage. Remember, he says this because he dishonestly edited the clip in the very beginning, which was me saying what? It was me saying, hey, can you drop that real quick, Jake? Real quick. Can you drop the screen share? There you go. Anyway, he dishonestly clipped out me saying the word no. Here's what actually happened, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second here. I'm going to pull it up for you. Oops. Hang on. Sorry about that. Keep it pulled down, please, until I tell you to pull it up. All right. 1 second. Let me pull up the right thing here. There we go. So here's what actually happened. Pull it up. Here's what actually happened when I said no to this woman. You ready for this? This is how dishonest fucking Bob is over here.
Like shit before?
No,
Now here's the no, me saying no, and then here's what I go on to qualify.
I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog and took her from walks and exploited her mental illness. It's psychotic.
And you
Oops, Bob, you fucked up, Bob. What I actually said to her was, no, I'm not saying that I've never treated a woman like shit. I went on to qualify that I've never done any of these bad things, which I then listed. The entirety of the front half of your video is a complete lie by omission. There's no possible way you couldn't have known that if you watched this clip. It's not even possible. So you lied, Bob. Now, I've got two more criticisms if you've got time to look at them. Go ahead, drop the screen, please. Oops, Bob, that was a big fuck up by you, by the way. Big fuck up. That's such an easily demonstrated lie. But all of these clips are. I don't need to show the other two unless Bob wants me to, but I'm happy to. Okay. The issue here that we can see, I just want to make sure I get this right. Boom. Yeah, that was Bob's case for me denying ever being mean to women. Now, the issue here is Bob banks on the fact that you, the viewer, will miss the obvious cut. And I just showed you multiple times what the actual cut is. And there's what I actually said in context. What I've said here was obvious. And I'm not saying I've never been mean to a woman. I never said that. I'm saying I've never done any of these immoral things for which I am now levying a criticism. And I haven't. So Bob lied. And it's an obvious lie. And next comes the Parker exchange. In the Parker exchange, Bob claims I have no issue not caring about the feelings of others, but then gets upset when people don't take my feelings into consideration. I thought that was a fair criticism if it was true. The framing actually made no sense here. It was the opposite. The point I was making was you can criticize and make fun of Christianity, but then you get
Okay, wait. I wanna stick to the first line claim, and then we can move on after we sort that out.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to finish the opening. I'm almost done with the opening.
It's supposed to be 5, and I gave you extra time.
Did we agree to 5? I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, we did say 5, so it might be
Oh,
best if
okay.
Bob gets into his opening now, and then you guys can sort out other claims after you.
Okay,
address the
that's
first
fine.
one.
That's fine.
All right.
I'll hear to the moderator.
Okay, so I have 4 responses to this lying claim. One is an undercutting defeater. So I'm going to aim at taking away the motivations Andrew has for thinking I'm lying. And the other 3 responses are active reasons to think that his claim is actually false. So we'll start with the undercutting defeater here. And that's going to be, so what's really going on here? There's a point of dispute between me and Andrew pertaining to me editing a clip. Now, the fact that I edited the clip is not in dispute. What's in dispute is why I did that. So Andrew's making 3 unique claims, and he's going to have to provide evidence for all 3 of them, as well as survive my objections to why I think these claims are actively false. So the first thing he's saying is that the full context actually changes his answer. I dispute that. I don't think it changes his answer. So that's the first thing he's going to have to defend.
Okay, well, let's start with that. Let's start with that.
I'll list the 3 things you're going to have to defend.
Well, let's just do one at a time.
I do get 5 minutes, though. I get 5 minutes.
Yep, give him
I
his
thought
opening
you said
statement.
you didn't want 5 minutes.
Yeah, just let him do his opening statement, and then we'll
okay.
do
If you got
whatever.
a whole opening statement, go ahead.
No, I don't have. I'm just going to list the 3 things you're going to have to do, and then we could get into a discussion about it. So the 3 things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to show how, first of all, the full context actually relevantly changes your answer. The second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to show that I knew that. And the third thing you're going to have to show is not only did I know that, but that I edited it purposefully to be deceitful, because it could very well be the case that I knew the full context changes the answer, but didn't do it to be deceitful. There could be a whole host of reasons why I did it that are not aiming at deceit, and then it's just false that I'm lying, right?
Okay, I'm fine with going into each of those. Can we start with the first claim?
Sure.
Okay, what was the first one again? Let's
The
make
first
sure we
thing
get it right.
in order for your claim that I'm lying to get off the ground, you're going to have to motivate that the full context actually changes your answer. I don't think that's the case.
Okay. So when I said to this woman, no, I'm saying that's not what I'm claiming, that I've never been mean to a woman. Why would I go on to qualify the specifics after the no claim? Why?
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to pull up the direct quote and the context that.
Oh, here, I'll just play it for you right now so that you got it. The full,
no, because the
quote and
full
context.
video makes the full video, which is going to take 13 minutes. I have a 13-minute video in mind. That's not necessary. I have the actual words written here, so I'll just pull that up. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, here we are. So she okay. You initially asked her, more asserted, what you should be crying. What you did was horrendous. That's what you said.
That's correct. It was horrendous.
And in response, she goes, "Oh, well, have you never treated a woman like shit before?"
Mm-hmm.
And your response was, "No, I've never made a woman sleep on the floor like a dog like you have."
Right.
Like,
so I'm saying, no, I'm not saying that. Otherwise, I wouldn't go on to make the qualifiers. That would make no sense. And you can hear it right here. This is the same exact thing. That is what I'm actually saying. I'm saying, no, I'm refuting her claim. I'm saying, no, I'm not saying I've never been mean to a woman. What I am saying is A, B, and C. Otherwise, why would I give the qualifiers?
For emphasis.
Hang on.
That's why you'd give the qualifier for emphasis. It's totally plausible.
Right. I'm saying no. And I'm telling you right now, I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. And then I gave the qualifiers. Now, why would I do that if it was the case that I was just saying, no, I've never been mean to women? And by the way, if that was the case, wouldn't there be, hang on. If that was the case, wouldn't there also be other instances that you can find of me claiming I've never been mean to women? Or is it just this one time you're claiming that I claimed this, even though we have the context, it clearly shows that I'm not saying that.
Okay.
For one thing, I tend not to ever make.
Shares, let me know.
I tend to never make monolithic claims, by the way. Like, I have been mean to some women. I'm not sure that that means I'm mean to women, right? But in this particular instance, you're saying that I'm claiming that I'm never mean to women. That's absurd. I've never said that, and I didn't even say it here. I went on to list the qualifiers of what I was specifically speaking about, Bob.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you said.
Uh-huh.
You said verbatim, no, I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog.
Yep.
Right. Here's my read.
No, that's not all I said, Rob or Bob. Share the screen. Here's what I actually said, Bob.
No, I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog and took her from walks and exploited her mental illness.
That's psychotic.
And exploited her mental illness. That's psychotic. So I gave a bunch of qualifiers for what I was actually talking about, which was not saying, no, I'm saying I've never been mean to women. That makes no sense. In context, that makes no sense. The viewers, listen, for any rational viewer viewing this, they're never going to believe that no statement was me saying, no, I'm never mean to women. Otherwise, the qualifiers wouldn't be necessary, and you wouldn't have stopped the video. Why would you have stopped the video at no without the other context, Bob?
One thing at a time. I can explain my motive, but prior to the motive, we need to examine what was actually said.
Okay, that was what was actually said.
I'll lay out what was said, and then we can move on to interpretation. But here's what was said. What was said was, the girl asked, have you ever treated a girl like shit before? Your response was, no, I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog. That's what you said. Now, the debate...
No, I said more than that. I have listed a bunch of qualifiers.
So
what I was saying, what I'm saying,
additional things.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is, I've never done these immoral things I'm criticizing this woman for. Not saying that I've never treated a woman poorly. I'd never said that, Bob. I said no, and that's no, meaning no, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. Here's what I am saying, and
I have a question.
Qualifiers.
I have a question. Did you say these words or did you not say these words? No, I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog and took her for walks and exploited her mental illness. That's psychotic.
No, I didn't say those exact words. I don't think. I think you made a mistake there. But to be charitable, we'll just say yes.
Okay. So
and you omitted the second part of that, Bob, because changed context.
Wait.
It was a live omission.
That's what you said. We agree that's what you said. Okay.
Yeah, we agree.
Now, here's how I understood what you were saying in response to her. I understood that you were saying, no, I've never treated a woman like shit before, unlike you making people act like dogs.
Wait, then why did you cut the video just show no, Bob?
I have 4 reasons for why I cut the video. First of all, it adds extra time to the video. That's unnecessary. Second, if I continue the rest of the video, it doesn't emphasize to the viewer that you would answer no, and I wanted people to bear in mind very clearly that you had said no. I didn't want to distract from that, right?
Okay, so you only cut it at no, so that you could change the context of the video and to save time. Because the whole point of that is to claim that I'm a hypocrite, right, Bob?
Repeat that.
Is the point of the video, of that portion of the video, to prove that I'm a hypocrite, Bob? To say that I'm a hypocrite because what I'm saying is no, I don't treat women badly, or at least I'm a liar because I don't treat women badly, and then you go on to show a bunch of instances of me treating women badly?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha, Bob. So then when you cut it at no to the rational viewer, wouldn't the rational viewer believe that what I'm actually saying there is no, I don't treat women poorly? And if given the additional context, they realize that what I actually said is no, not saying I don't treat women poorly, But here's all the qualifiers I'm talking about with you, the person I'm criticizing. Wouldn't the rational viewer take it that way, Bob? And why would I assume that you wouldn't, the guy who has an agenda? The guy has an agenda to make me look bad here.
Okay, so we could get into what the rational viewer might think, and we could get
Well,
into...
who are you talking to? Who are you talking to in the video? Are you talking to a wall or are you talking to human beings? Who are you talking to? Rational viewers?
No, that's not the point.
Who are you
No.
talking to in the video, Bob?
That's irrelevant.
No, it's relevant because who you're talking to in the video, that's your market audience that you're making the video for in order to do your expose on me. So it is relevant who you're talking to. My assumption is that you want these people to know something about me, right?
Who I'm talking to is irrelevant to the point that I'm trying to make that you're not letting me make.
Make the point.
Okay. You said, I never made a woman sleep on the ground like a dog.
Yeah.
My read is that you were saying no, answering her question, and for emphasis, gave examples of the kinds of things she did that you didn't do, like making people sleep on the floor like a dog.
That's because that's exactly what I did do.
Okay. Now, here's 3 reasons for my understanding of what you were saying.
Okay.
If your recall her question, she asked, have you ever treated a woman like shit before?
Yeah. And yes,
If
I'm
your
aware.
statement was not an answer to her question, then it's a red herring.
It was an answer
No?
to her question. The
What?
no there, though, the no placement there wasn't to say, no, I never treat women poorly. It was say, no, that's not what I'm referencing here. I'm referencing this.
Hold on. Did you
No.
answer her
So in other
question?
words, no, that's not what I'm talking about here.
Were you answering were you answering her question?
Yeah. I said, no, that's not what I'm talking about here.
Her question was, have you ever treated a woman like shit before? Did you
Yeah,
answer that
but you have
question?
to
or
you
not?
have to add key and context there. She was trying to reframe the conversation into have basically, yes, I'm a bad human being for doing all these horrible things. But haven't you been a bad human being too? And I was like, no, which is basically, wait a minute. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that I've never done any of these bad things. And by the way, anybody who's watched that episode knows that what this woman said was horrific. The thing she was doing was horrific. Nobody took away from that I was actually saying, no, I've never treated a woman poorly. That's fucking absurd. That is literally absurd.
Okay. So her question was, have you ever treated a woman like shit before? Did you answer it or not? Can I get a succinct answer? Did you answer that question?
Well, look, inside
Just
of the
a yes or
context,
no. Did you answer
inside of
her
the
question or
context, I
not?
think I did. And what I did was I said, this is
Did
irrelevant.
you answer her question or not?
I just told you I did. And the answer
Okay,
was
yes. So the
basically,
answer
this
yes.
is
Good.
irrelevant.
You answered her question, right?
Yes, but not in the context of yes, no. So if you say to someone, no, that's not what I'm saying. Like, no, man, that's not what I'm saying. But you hyphenate, it shortens very quickly. Like, no. What's going on here is X, right? That's what I'm saying here. No. What's going on here is X, not yes, no, as in, are you going out the door right now? Yes, no. That's not the context of this, Bob. And it's beyond obvious. Like, this is beyond obvious. This is not a thing which you can autistically break down, unfortunately for you, because we have it. I have the video, Bob.
Were you answering her question? To that, you said yes. And then I'm like, okay, what was your answer? And then it turns out you were answering and you were pivoting. So that's a contradiction.
You know what? Let me be as charitable as I can. Let's
Mhm.
just say I was pivoting. Okay, so what?
Right. If you were pivoting, then that's
Yeah.
a red herring.
Well, wait a second. It's not a red herring if I move off of something which is irrelevant or refuse to answer a question. That's not a red herring.
Well, would you agree it would appear as one?
No, that's still not a red herring. It doesn't even appear as a red
No,
herring.
I asked, would it appear as one?
Nope, doesn't even appear as one.
No, not to you. Do you think that if I ask you a question,
Yeah.
and you don't answer and you pivot,
Well,
Do you
I don't
think-
consider it a pivot. I just consider it moving back to the relevancy of what we're talking about.
Irritability.
If you're moving back to the relevancy of what's being talked about, that's the opposite of a pivot. And it's the opposite of a red herring. So, for instance,
You
Bob,
just granted.
you
are
and I
taking
are
that
in-
back now?
you and I are in the middle of a debate, let's say. You and I
Wait,
are.
and
And
we
you
need
say,
to come up with-
in the middle of this debate, let's say we're talking about dogs. And you say, Andrew, is the sky blue, yes or no? And I go, no. we're talking about dogs here, Bob. Did you answer my question, Andrew? Yes or no? Was it a yes or no? It's like, no, that you could say it's a pivot, but it sounds like it's a pivot back to what the hell we're supposed to be talking about, maybe.
So it's a justified pivot.
I don't even know that I would consider it necessarily a pivot, but if I'm being charitable to the language, and you just say I pivoted the conversation back to what it was supposed to be, then sure, Bob.
Right. So that's not answering the question. And it will appear.
But that's
as
not a
though-
red herring.
Okay. But it's a pivot, right? And how does that
Even
come
if
across?
even if it's a pivot, it's not a red herring. And if you pivot a conversation back to what the discussion is supposed to be, that's probably a good thing in the context of a
disputing that.
discussion. Then what's the problem, Bob?
Okay, the problem is how you appeared. You appeared as though you weren't answering her question. Now,
So?
because I wanted to assume that you were answering her question and not committing a red herring, I went, oh, okay, well, if he was answering her question, not committing a red herring, well, then I would have to take his statement at face value.
Well,
and
gee,
assume
Bob,
that, yeah.
what seems more likely? The fact that when we have the context in its entirety, we can see that I'm literally talking about the actual subject matter at hand, or the guy who cuts it at the no without the additional context, who's making the hit piece video on the other guy in order to make the case that other guy bad, other guy doing bad things. Doesn't it seem much more reasonable and rational to the viewer that you cut it directly at the no, specifically so that you could go on to say that I'm claiming that I'm never mean to women, but here's all the instances of me being mean to women, even though that is by far the least charitable way that you could view that and doesn't even make sense in context, Bob.
I'm trying to give you the reasons for my interpretation.
I
So
think,
does-
and I'm trying to give you the reasons I think you interpreted it that way. See, because you're making a hit piece video.
You
And
already
wanted to
gave
make
them.
me,
You opened-
you wanted to make me sound as bad as possible, Bob. And so
What's
you
wrong?
cut it at the no. That's why you did that.
Hold on. We have a meta problem in this debate right now.
Oh, we do.
Do you not realize it's been going on for 27 minutes and you've been constantly over talking and interrupting me?
Bob, if you have, I literally just didn't interrupt you right now. Right now, as you say, all I'm doing is interrupting you. Didn't interrupt you.
For the vast majority of this 27-minute debate, have you been interrupting and over talking me?
Bob, you've interrupted too, but sure. Let's just say that there was a bit of interruption going on. Do you want to do a timer, Bob? Would that make you feel better? Or do you want to actually discuss the content here? Because what you're doing right now is a red herring. Now we're having a meta debate. We're having a debate about the debate.
Do you want to take it any particular direction, Bob? Or
I don't want to have to resort to a timer. I think that's stupid.
Good. Then
But
let's
I
not do that.
I prepared a bunch of reasons for my interpretation, and I just can't get them out without Andrew interrupting or pivoting.
all right, should we take it at one reason at a time then, and then you can state the reason in its entirety. Andrew can rebuke the reason.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, let's go. First
Right.
one.
So I want to emphasize again, without interruption, Andrew had said, and interpretation is another thing. That's step 2. But the actual statement to the question, have you ever treated someone like shit before, was, quote, no, I never made a woman sleep on the floor like a dog. That's
Yeah.
the statement. Now, hold
What-
on.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought that you were giving, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Now, if you want to build into that statement that the no was objecting to like the whole premise of her question, sure, you could build that in, but you can't deny that you didn't make that explicit. And if you didn't make that explicit, then it's going to appear as though you're not answering. And if it appears as though you're not answering because you didn't make what you were doing explicit, well, then obviously I'm going to interpret you in a way. I have an option as the viewer. I was analyzing what you did. I'm like, okay, I have 2 options here. Option 1, Andrew didn't answer the question and he committed a red herring and he didn't make explicit that he was citing the irrelevance of the question that this woman asked, or he answered the question. So yeah, I assume the more charitable interpretation there that you answered.
Oh, I see. So look, can I respond now, Bob?
Yes, but I want you to repeat my reasoning for my interpretation back to me to make sure we're on the
Because
same
you
page.
heard the word no. And when you heard the word no, you figured that I must be responding directly to this question as a no statement. And further, right, after I answer this as no statement, this is actually Bob being very charitable, because otherwise it would look like I was pivoting, and Andrew wouldn't want to look like he was pivoting, right?
So my motivation for my interpretation was a dichotomy. red herring or answer. I chose the interpretation you were answering.
Well, it's not a
What's
red
wrong
herring,
with
Bob.
that?
Well, first of all, it's not a red herring. So why would you choose that as an option?
That's in dispute. But Simon,
Yes, it's in dispute. Why is it that I should assume you assume this was a red herring when even if I granted this, it wouldn't have been a red herring, Bob? That makes no sense. That's the contradiction, Bob. If you say, I assume this was a red herring thing, that's not a red herring, even if I grant to you that this was your interpretation, then why would I think that you're telling the truth, Bob? Because it wouldn't have been a red herring. So are you just wrong, Bob? Are you just wrong here?
exactly my point. Whether it's a red herring or not is irrelevant because it appeared as though it was one. So even if I'm wrong that it's
How
red herring,
how did it appear as a red herring?
because it was a pivot and it wasn't an answer.
Pivot's not a red herring.
It appeared as though it was one. And we're
No. What makes it one, Bob?
Hold on, no. You're making the claim I lied.
Yeah.
In order for you to justify that, you have to show that I had bad intentions as opposed to a misunderstanding. Now, if you want to switch your argument that I didn't lie, but I mistook you for committing a red herring when you didn't.
No, Bob, you clearly lied.
If you think I lied, but you're going to concede that it appeared as though you committed a red herring, those two beliefs are in tension with one another.
Bob, when did I say it appeared as though I committed a red herring? You haven't demonstrated how it would be, even if I conceded to a even if I conceded to a pivot, how that would have been a red herring, Bob. How?
It appeared as though it was.
Can you demonstrate how it appeared to be?
Do you not agree that if someone pivots, it will appear as though they're
No.
engaging in a red herring?
Well, it depends on the nature of the pivot. They pivot the conversation back to itself. That doesn't seem very red herring-like to me. That seems like the opposite of a red herring, in fact.
Right. It does
That would be
depend
like
on the
that would be
nature-
like a green herring. We'll call that
It does-
a green herring instead
It
of a red
does.
herring.
I agree. You said, I asked, will a pivot appear as a red herring? And you said it depends on the nature of the conversation.
Mhm.
I agree. And I think the very nature of the conversation lends more support to my interpretation, for
Oh,
sure.
then why would I give the qualifiers? So, for instance, why wouldn't I
already told
say?
you.
Why
You
wouldn't I
gave
say
the
something?
qualifier for
Bob,
emphasis of the point.
Why wouldn't I say something like, "No, I don't do that," instead of "no" and no, and then the qualifiers?
People
Why,
tend to
Bob?
qualify their statements. What's the mystery?
Yeah, they tend to qualify their statements so there's no misinterpretation. No, I'm not saying that I've never treated a woman poorly. I'm saying I've never done any of these horrible things. Now we have the context, right? You, Bob, I assume, right? Know the distinction. Let me ask you this. Did you watch that clip in its entirety?
Yes.
Did you watch that episode in its entirety?
Probably not. But I saw there's a 13-minute video. Where
It
you're
was
interacting
a 13-minute video.
Yeah.
Okay. So you thought you had the entirety of the context based on the 13-minute video?
The entirety of the context relevant to the answer. Yes,
Mm.
of course.
And you cut it right at the no.
Correct.
Now, Bob, was the intentionality of you cutting it at the no, was the intentionality there from you to demonstrate to the audience that I was saying, no, I never do this thing, and then go on and demonstrate all the times I do this thing?
I could answer that, but I don't want to move on for my reason you didn't address.
Well, wait a second, Bob. What did I not address?
The reason I had for my interpretation. It appeared like a red herring. Under the assumption you weren't committing one, my interpretation was plausible.
What? Okay. Okay, Bob, I'll grant it. I'll grant it's plausible. Is it more plausible from the hang on, Bob, from the perspective of the viewer, that since you're trying to make it look like I said no, I don't do thing, then you go on to demonstrate all the times you think I do thing, that you cut it at the no specifically, so that it appeared that I was lying, that I don't do this thing, and then here's all the times I do it.
Too little information is provided for me to make a determination.
Did you cut it at the no to make me look bad, Bob? To make it look like I was a liar?
No.
Now, do you think from the perspective of the viewer, after they see the actual context that I just showed versus the actual cut at the no that you put, that they're going to believe that, Bob?
Depends on the viewer, and then it will depend on how closely they pay attention to my justification for my interpretation.
Okay. Well, while you can't prove 100%
Not asking
that a person is lying.
Not
Right? He
asking
can't
that.
prove it. I think that I demonstrated here well that if we were to take the powerful motivation that both of us have, your motivation being, well, this appeared as being a pivot and I was just being charitable because otherwise it's kind of like a red herring. That's not a red herring. Or you take my interpretation, which is you cut it at the no because you want to make me look bad in a hit piece video. Which one do you think is going to sound more plausible to the viewer, Bob?
I wouldn't make a judgment. I'd be agnostic.
Oh, of course, you'd be agnostic. Okay. Well, Bob, I think you lied. And I think I demonstrated it pretty well. While I can't 100% extract your motivation, I think that your reasoning of, I was just trying to be really charitable to you, Andrew, even though I was clearly not being charitable fucking at all. And this was actually a red herring that I can't demonstrate was a red herring, even if you grant that it was a pivot. That seems pretty weak, Bob. Seems like you were just making a hit piece here and you cut it at the no because you wanted to make it look like I'm mean to women and say I'm not mean to women. That's what it looks like to me.
So what's the argument I lied? What's the motivation?
Oh, the motivation is you're making a hit piece video. You wanted views. You wanted to capture my attention. And so you cutting it at the no then is expressing to the viewer that I made a claim that I'm not mean to women. And here's all the examples of me being mean to a woman. That's powerful motivation, Bob. Very, very powerful motivation to lie.
Okay. So you're claiming I lied, and you're motivating that claim by citing the fact that I'm making a hit piece.
Not just that you're making a hit piece, but that you selectively cut this at certain spots, specifically when if the viewer had the context, they would likely change their opinion on what it is that I was saying. And because you cut that context out, knowing that it would likely change the opinion of the viewer, you're lying by omission.
But that's circular reasoning. You're begging the question because I'm asking for motivation.
I gave you the motivation.
I'm asking for motivation to support your claim that I'm lying.
Well, let's start.
The first motivation you gave was not question begging. You said I'm making a hit piece. I think that's very poor motivation, but sideline that. The second motivation.
How is that poor motivation, Bob?
Sideline that. The second thing you said.
What?
The second, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Let me finish. The second thing you said, which was question begging, was, oh, the motivation for you lying was that, and then you effectively say that you were lying. You said
no, this is incorrect. You got it completely backwards,
I'll
Bob.
repeat it back to you.
Here, we'll do step one. We'll do step one. I'll just give it to you. I'll give it to you. Step one, Bob makes a hit piece video. Step two, Bob wants people to watch the hit piece video. Because otherwise, why the fuck would Bob make the hit piece video? That makes no sense, right?
Okay, hold on. No. You cut me off here. I wanted to get this point across.
Okay, get the
point second across, motivation Bob. You gave for why I was lying was that I edited the clip knowingly because I didn't want the viewer to form an opinion.
No, it's because you wanted him to form. You wanted him to form a bad opinion, Bob.
Right.
You wanted to form an opinion that was biased against me, Bob.
But that's the very assertion that I want you to justify, and you're citing that as the motivation when I asked for one. That's question begging.
Well, wait a second. It's not question begging. So let's go through this. Okay. Step one. Bob, do you agree that this was designed to be a hit piece?
What does that mean?
It means it wasn't designed to highlight that Andrew Wilson is great. It was designed to highlight that Andrew Wilson is a hypocrite and a liar.
It was designed. No. It was my intention.
No? So then how come your tweet, Bob, said this video is going to destroy Andrew Wilson? Now, Bob, do you usually put out tweets that you made a video that's going to destroy someone because you're talking them up? Is that how people get destroyed, by other people talking them up, Bob? Or do they get destroyed by, other mechanisms?
Well, I want to be very clear. I'm not making the claim that the video is not a hit piece. I think it is a hit piece.
Okay, so then claim one, video's a hit piece.
Wait, hold on. But I am making the claim that my intention was not to make a hit piece. That's different. Got it.
But the video was a hit piece.
You're right, but my intention.
So
you're
step
citing
one,
my intentions.
Nope, not. I'm just saying Bob made a hit piece. That's one.
Right? No, you were no. Initially, you had cited my intentions, so I want to get that out there. I want people to know my intentions. I want people to know that my intentions. That's fair. You're assuming negative things about my intentions. It's fair that I get it out there. My intention was to vent my frustration at you for committing logical fallacies and making logical mistakes. That pissed me off. That was my motivation. I wanted to get back at you for doing that. Is that clear?
So your motivations were you wanted to get back at me for a thing.
Yes.
So revenge.
I don't know if that's revenge. I feel like for revenge, you have to do something to me.
Let's define revenge.
Sure. Let's just let's.
Well,
let's
hang
do
on. How do you
revenge.
get back at somebody unless they do something to you?
Fine, fair enough. Revenge. I'll go.
Yeah.
with
So
that.
you wanted to get revenge, right, Bob? So Bob wants revenge. Bob makes a hit piece video. Is that established?
Sure, but my intention
Okay.
was not a hit piece.
I'm not talking about intentions yet, Bob. I'm just asking about the order of events.
Wait, are we on the same page? I just want to make. You could proceed. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Bob wants revenge. Bob makes hit piece video. Are we clear on that so far?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So after Bob wants revenge and Bob makes hit piece video, right? When Bob gets to put portion of hit piece video that makes person look bad because Bob wants revenge, how is it not a powerful motivator, Bob, to then go ahead and edit out critical context that may change a viewer's mind?
Because motive is not sufficient.
Revenge is powerful motive, Bob.
Motive is horrible. Motive and motive alone is horrible grounds to charge someone with a crime.
I'm not charging you with a crime, Bob.
Everyone has motive to steal money, right? But I can't drag you into court and say, well,
no, not everybody has.
$1,000
No,
went
no,
missing
Bob,
from my
that's
door,
wrong. Not
and
everybody has
Andrew
motive to
Wilson
steal money, Bob.
Has motive to take my $1,000. So is Andrew Wilson.
Everybody
You know
doesn't
it's
have
just
motive to steal, Bob. That's just you just made it up. You just made it up. Not everybody has motive to do that. Just made up nonsense.
The vast majority. Would you agree? The vast majority of people have motive to steal.
No.
No.
No, the vast majority of people probably have more motive not to steal.
By motive, I don't mean what they want to do. By motive, I mean there's some benefit. Okay, you know what? Get rid of steal. I think we can. That's just neither here nor there. We can both agree there are many crimes that most people are going to have the motive to commit. Would you agree with that?
Well, okay. So let's be hyper specific then. What do we mean by motivation?
Whatever you meant when you said that I had motivation.
A want to do something.
Sure.
Okay, then no.
So you don't think there's one crime that the majority of people have motive to commit? That's absurd.
I can't think of one. What would one be? I'm willing to concede maybe, but what?
Vast majority of people have motive to steal. I would cite that again.
No.
I think that's obvious.
No. That's beyond. No, that's be obvious the other way. Want to do. I don't think most people want to steal. I think that's absurd. I think that's the most absurd claim you've made tonight. In fact, Bob.
By want, I don't mean they're going to.
No. It's by what I mean. Remember, you said, "What do you mean by motive?" Want to. You said, "Okay, we'll concede that that's what we're going to use for the definition of motivation." So then, if you then say, by my definition of want to, they want to steal, then yeah, reject that wholeheartedly. They don't want to steal, Bob. I think that's silly.
You don't think there's a single crime that the vast majority of people want to commit?
Nothing comes to mind. I'm willing to be corrected here. If you can name one.
Okay. Well, then I'll just reverse my claim. The vast.
Okay.
If you're not conceding that there's even one crime that the vast majority of people would want to commit, and you see the opposite true with respect to stealing.
Just with respect to stealing.
What?
Just with respect to stealing, though.
Okay. Well, then, on pain of contradiction, you're going to have to affirm the following claim I'm going to make on, and if you avoid doing that, there's a contradiction. So, if with respect to stealing, that you said the vast majority of people are motivating the opposite way.
Yeah.
Then we can make a principle. Fine. So if you don't think the vast majority of people, there's at least one crime that the vast majority of people would want to commit.
Why can we make a principle?
What?
Why can we make a principle here?
You were saying that doesn't seem plausible to you that the vast majority of people would want to commit a crime.
Yeah, that wouldn't mean it's a principle. How would that make something a principle?
Okay, there's a defeasible presumption in favor of that assumption, right?
That's not a principle, Bob.
All right, it's a defeasible presumption.
So not a principle?
Right. I misspoke. Defeasible presumption.
I know you want me to be charitable, Bob, like you were to me in the video, but okay, sure. Let's go with that. Okay. Yes, there's an assumption that I have, and it is an assumption that there's more of a motivation for people probably not to steal than to steal. Probably.
Would you say the majority of people have a motivation to do something that's good, like give charity?
No.
Could you give me? Do you think there's one good thing that the vast majority of motivation to do?
That they want to do?
Yeah.
A good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like love, probably. Most people want love, they want to be loved.
In action. In action.
Yeah, and to love. I think most people want to love.
That's a feeling. Could you give me an action?
Well, love manifests itself through actions.
Right.
What's that?
I want an action, not something that could manifest in an action.
Okay, okay, hugs. I think most people want a hug, and most people like to give people that they love hugs.
So do you think it's a good argument to say that Andrew Wilson gave me a hug because the majority of people have a desire to want a hug? Is that a good argument?
No.
Why?
Well, what we're doing here, when you're ascribing this, you're making an appeal ad populum. So that would be fallacious on his face. There'd be an argument ad populum.
What you're doing in the case.
No, hang on, I'm not. You're not, actually. So what's going on here is we're simply asking about motivation, right? So when we're talking about motivation, do you agree that we have different aspects of things that motivate people to do different things?
Obviously.
Yeah. Do you think that revenge is a very powerful motivator for people?
I mean, depends on how badly they want. Not inherently.
Yeah, but if they want revenge, do you think that if they want
the tautology?
Yeah, so if they want revenge, do you think that that's a powerful motivator for them?
It depends how badly they want it.
Okay, I got it. But if they never wanted it, it's obviously going to be a more powerful motivator if they do want it to some degree than if they don't, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what we have established here is that if you want revenge, you have motive. And you have described that you want revenge. And since you want revenge, there's no reason for me to believe. In fact, I should not believe that you did that and cut that in the most uncharitable way possible, especially when you said, because otherwise it'd be a red herring when it wouldn't. For you to actually do this in a good light, if you want revenge, seems unreasonable to me. That seems unreasonable to me.
All your argument is doing is saying that you think I've done something because I have motive to do it. And I'm pointing out that that's not good reason.
No, it's not just that. It's not just the motive, but the clip itself. So I have evidence to back. What I'm showing is that you have motivation to do a bad thing and then showing the evidence of you doing the bad thing. So it's like, no, I'm not just being like, oh, hey, he had a motive, but I have no evidence. Like, no, I got pretty good evidence here, Bob.
The evidence is in dispute. You were claiming that the full context changes your answer. I don't think that's the case.
That's nice, Bob. But the thing is that when we're talking about this, it's not just about what Bob, the guy who wants revenge, thinks, because he has a motivation. He has a great Bob, the revenge guy, has some motivation to maybe not be so honest with why he did a thing. So what we would have to do, I think here, a fair thing to do would be for me to ask you this one question, right? And I just want to see if you're going to be honest with me or not. Okay.
Okay.
Do you believe, now that people have seen the context of what was said, heard my explanation versus your cut, and now have heard that you wanted revenge, that was your motivation to make the video, that they're going to think perhaps you were being dishonest here, Bob?
Some people are, yeah.
Most people.
I don't know.
If you had to guess. Just asking for your guess.
No.
Yeah, that's what a guess is. You're not supposed to know. You're supposed to guess.
How many stars are the number of stars in the universe odd or even? Make a guess.
Even.
Right. The guess you just made has absolutely no bearing on the actual reality of the situation. So you want me to do that? You just want me to throw out something?
No, I'm asking you to guess based on the reality of the situation.
Right. And what I'm telling you is, just like in the case of the stars, I just don't have enough information to make a conclusion.
Yeah, but if you had to guess.
Why?
If you gave your best guess, it'd be like this, Bob. Here's a much more rational one, right? You don't have a tape measure, right? But I'm like, we don't have a tape measure, but I need a 6-foot board. Can you go over there and give me your best guess for 6 foot? Could you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable and rational. So I'm just asking you here, Bob. I know that we don't have the empirical data to make a determination as to how many people would change their mind after seeing this. But if you had to guess, do you think that in context, a whole lot of people, perhaps the majority of them, 51% or higher, are going to change their mind on the context here based on your revenge motivation? Now that we have context. Just guess. That's why I'm asking you to guess. You have no idea what 6 foot is either, but you could guess.
Right. Those aren't analogous, obviously.
You can guess about anything, can't you?
Yeah, and some guesses are going to be educated, like the 6
Sure,
foot
I'm just
guess.
asking you, based on all the information you have right now, to give me your best guess.
My best guess is I have no idea.
Your best guess as to whether or not this would change a person's mind, and now seeing it in context.
Right. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, you want to answer. Okay.
I mean, you wanted an answer to a question that I told you I don't
Look,
have.
Bob, I'm fine with leaving this portion of the debate here. We can move on to the next one. We can move on to the next criticism.
I reckon we move on to the next criticism. Guys, we are going to be reading some questions at the end. I've also noticed that there's a lot of haters in the chat, a lot for Andrew as well, saying, you know, he doesn't take big time debates and all that. Maybe we might have time
Against
at the end
who?
if we wanted to
Against
get
who?
some.
Who the fuck have I not debated? Who?
Well, this is what the haters are saying. So if maybe at the end we could get some in, if you guys wanted to jump in at the end, we could do like a Run the Crucible type thing if we've got time. So message me on X if you guys maybe want to do that.
No,
But at
I'm
the end,
having
we're gonna have some
I'm
questions.
having a 1v1 debate. Those fuckers can apply for a 1v1 debate just like this guy did. And you know what? To Bob's defense, okay, I'm gonna make a defense of Bob in a charitable way. Okay. When I told Bob, look, I'm really busy, I will squeeze this in, okay, but you know, it's a low priority, but I will get it in. Bob was like, okay, man. He wasn't even a dick about it. He wasn't like, you're a chicken shit, blah, blah, blah. He was just like, okay. So he was actually pretty understanding about that in Bob's defense.
We got to give Bob credit where credit's due.
Now, on the flip side, Bob told me that he was sick, and I for another portion of this where we had it scheduled, and I didn't give him any shit either. Did I, Bob?
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. So the thing is like, I'm always pretty charitable to my haters, even though they're not very charitable to me. But I'd like to move on to the Dean and Parker aspect here.
Go forth.
No, I really don't want to do that. I prepared.
So you didn't, okay. So just on this. Okay, well, Bob, I'll just concede here. I think I demonstrated much better than you did that you're a liar and that you were basing this on revenge. And I think that I gave a better demonstration of that. Maybe you think you did, but I'm happy to move on to the next portion of the video that I want to criticize.
Okay, so I'm happy to move on if you could just let me rush through the thing I prepared. It
Go
will
ahead.
probably take 3 to 5 minutes if I'm uninterrupted.
Go ahead.
Okay. You're not going to interrupt?
No.
Okay. So the undercutting defeater I was trying to make earlier was that we have a piece of data, namely that I edited the clip here. Now, what's in dispute is the interpretation for the data, the explanation for the data that I edited the clip. Now, there are 3 categories of explanations here for why I edited the clip. But Andrew is selecting of these 3 categories and all these explanations, one specific explanation. So the 3 categories of explanation here are explanations that are uncharitable toward me, make a negative assumption about me. Second category of explanation is one that makes a negative assumption about Andrew. And third is the neutral kinds of explanations. So I'll just quickly list the kinds of explanations here for why I edited the clip. The first, Andrew's explanation, is because 1, context changes the answer. 2, I knew this. 3, not only did I know this, but I deliberately misrepresented him because these are different things, right? It could very well be that I knew the full context changes the answer, but I didn't think it was deceitful to edit the context. Second explanation for why I edited the clip. Well, I was extremely biased against Andrew, so I interpreted him to fit my narrative. Now, being extremely biased and interpreting someone to fit your narrative is not the same as and doesn't entail lying. So, right, that would be another explanation for why I did what I did. Another explanation for why I edited the clip is that I'm not biased against Andrew in particular, but I'm generally speaking uncharitable. So I interpreted him uncharitably, which is, again, uncharitable interpretation is not the same as lying, which is his claim. By uncharitable, I just mean like amongst the interpretations that I could have chosen, amongst the interpretations that are plausible, I didn't assume the best one But not assuming something kind of somebody, and even assuming something negative of somebody, is not the same as lying, and doesn't make me a liar. It doesn't make me dishonest, which is Andrew's claim. Fourth explanation, that again assumes something negative about me. I'm dumb, lazy, emotional, bad at arguing, or bad at tracking, and because of that, I wasn't able to track the correct interpretation of what Andrew was saying. Now, bear in mind that Andrew, this is an internal critique of Andrew's view. He wants to claim I'm lying. But if he has really good reason, and I think he does, to think that this explanation here is the case, that I'm simply too dumb, lazy, emotional, bad at arguing and or tracking, if he has good reason to think that, then this is going to be in tension with his claim that I was deliberately doing something bad here, right? If you have good reason to think that someone messed up because they're stupid, why are you also going to add to that explanation for their mistake that they were being deceitful or had like some bad intention? What is his reasons for, why do I think he has reason to think this? Well, I know that he knows of something, he may not know the name, but I know he knows of this principle called Holland's razor. I've heard him say this before. The principle is this: that which could be attributed to malice should be attributed to incompetence or stupidity when both explanations are available. Why is this? Well, very simple. Incompetence and stupidity are far more common causes for mistakes than true malice. So not only is it intrinsically more probable that I was incompetent rather than lying, simply because of the base rate of these two things, right? Incompetence occurs far more than lying. So the prior prob that I was, prior to considering the data, that is, the prior prob I was lying is going to be lower than that of incompetence. But Andrew knows this. It's not like this is some like Bayesian argument Andrew's not aware of. I know he knows what Holland's razor is. He may not know the name, but I've heard him say that before. Furthermore, he already indicated he thinks I'm incompetent. Now, he may not actually think that, but that was the impression I got when talking to him on X. As he told me something, this is not verbatim, but he said something roughly to the effect of like, oh, well, ask yourself is talented. I'm talented, and you've demonstrated like no talent in like a dismissing sort of way. So we have both high prior prob that I'm not lying, given like Holland's razor, and more evidence to conditionalize on, namely that Andrew thinks I'm incompetent, making the posterior prob that I'm lying even lower. Of course, lying and incompetence are not necessarily mutually exclusive. I could be doing both. But Occam's razor makes this unlikely, as we already have a simple, straightforward, intrinsically probable hypothesis that explains the data here. So we don't need to add complexity by saying that, right? Occam's razor, for those who don't know, is when all else is equal, prefer a simple explanation to a complex one.
I'm just going to ask for my wife to bring me a drink. That's all. Go ahead.
Right. So we have a very simple, straightforward explanation. I interpreted Andrew the way I did because I was being incompetent. We don't need to start making really complex assumptions like, oh, I was incompetent and being deceitful, and I knew that the full context of the clip changed his answer. And despite the fact that I gave my rationalization, one of the rationalizations for I think that doesn't, I was lying when I gave that rationalization, not honestly mistaken or not stupidly mistaken. Right. So that's a very complicated explanation. So it's going to be less likely, obviously.
Well, Bob, can I ask you a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Of course.
I thought you were done.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll continue. Another explanation, that the fifth explanation for why I edited that assumes something negative about me, is that I was in a rush to get the video out. So while I watched the clip, I was hastily watching it. Again, hastily compiling clips is not the same as lying. Sixth explanation for why I edited the clip: I'm autistic and I tend to interpret people too literally. I do get accused of interpreting people literally often. In fact, in my conversation with Andrew on X, I had like at least one miscommunication with him because I interpreted him too literally. But again, of course, it's not the same as lying. So far I gave like 6 explanations for why I edited context, but all of these assume something negative about me or something uncharitable about me. Like I'm lying, I'm biased, I'm generally uncharitable, I'm dumb, bad at tracking, I was rushing, I'm autistic. But we can make all of these exact explanations in reverse and just assume something negative about Andrew. We could just reverse the uncharitability here. And Andrew said like, oh, there's good reason to think that I'm lying because I have motive, but so does Andrew. Andrew has reason to negate my claims because it would make him look better. So there's, I think, equal motive here.
Well, hang on now, Bob. You've gone through a ton. Can I just respond to a couple things?
Fair, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk first about attributing to stupidity over malice. You're right. I do say that a lot. Is revenge malicious, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. So then that argument's kind of negated, don't you think? Because the idea here is, why would Andrew ascribe to me pure incompetence if it's the case that, or why would he attribute maliciousness to me when he could just attribute it to incompetence? Well, because you told me it's for revenge, Bob. And said revenge is malicious, Bob. And so there's good reason for me to believe that it's not due to incompetence, but due to you being malicious, Bob. You see what I'm saying? And then, hang on, there's more.
That's a good point.
There's more. As you go through this, you also made another claim here, which is kind of ridiculous. You said, well, thing is that, yeah, it's a hit piece. Yeah, the hit piece is based on me wanting revenge. That's what it's for, right? And then you go on to say, but wait a second, Andrew, right? You actually have motivation just like I do. Yeah, I have motivation to defend myself. So not motivation to attack. So let's think of it this way. I'm walking down the street and you attack me. Do I have as much motivation to attack you as you do me?
I give this answer a lot, but it depends.
I mean, probably not though, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to be difficult. Sure. Yeah,
probably not. But do I have powerful motivation to defend myself?
Yeah.
So if we're looking at the two claims here, the person defending themselves from the person who's attacking, right, then it does seem like you should be able to attribute to my motivation defense. After all, I never came after you, Bob. You came after me. I didn't even know who you were. Didn't care, right? It's none of my business, none of my concern, right? So clearly my motivation makes sense. But you making the claim, well, how could this guy possibly attribute this to malice over incompetence, even if he thinks I'm incompetent? Well, because you told me, Bob. You told me it was malicious.
Fair. So I have two responses. I think that's a decent point. But I do have two responses to it. The first is that, and I was very cognizant of this fact, you accused me of lying before you had any interaction with me. So you didn't know. Well, it may be true. My intention was malice. You didn't know that when you initially made the accusation, and I kept track of this. The first thing you said to me after I harassed you to look at my video was, I watched it. It was like half decent. I understood your criticisms, besides for the part where you lied. And you made that claim prior to any interaction with me.
Mm-hmm.
You see the problem?
No, there's no problem.
If your basis for thinking
was that you tagged me in a video that you said was going to destroy me, Bob. I had every reason in the world to believe it was malicious. Every good reason in the world when you say this is going to undo you, this is going to destroy you, this is going to hurt you, to believe that that's malicious, Bob. I have every good reason in the world to believe that. I have never in my life one time had somebody say, I'm going to destroy you, and they meant that in a good way. Not once, Bob. In fact, I can't think even maybe a chick, maybe like some skank or something. She's like, this guy destroyed me, maybe in that context, but like, no, nobody's ever. And like, Andrew, I'm going to fucking destroy you. And they mean good things by that. And their motivation for wanting to destroy me
I'm not making the claim
is not good usually, Bob. It's usually real bad. And then when I see that you selectively cut out critical context, which would change these claims around, it's very clear to me that it's done in a malicious sense. And then I just get it affirmed tonight when you say, well, I want revenge. I want revenge.
Right, but
vengeance is mine, so saith the Bob.
Right, but prior to me, before you ever heard me say that, you made an assumption that I was.
Yeah, it's an assumption, but it's not based on reason. It's not that it's an assumption that isn't based on reason. I had reasonable, or I had good reasons to have that assumption. Chief of which is Andrew. This is going to destroy Andrew Wilson. It's a pretty good assumption that you don't mean good things for me, Bob. That your motivations, right, are probably not the best. They're probably pretty malicious. They're probably not based on good things for me, right, Bob?
You think if someone says, I'm going to destroy you, you could infer that they're so malicious as to make them suspect of lying? You think just saying...
Yes, Bob, I do.
Oh, interesting. Andrew, you said in our chat on X, you're going to destroy me in this debate. You said that.
Yeah, Bob, I'm not here to be nice. My motivation now is towards you malicious. That it has to be. Unfortunately, when I defend myself, when I defend myself.
Wait, no, let's be consistent.
I'm being consistent.
Okay. Now your internal look. I don't think malice is sufficient grounds to conclude that someone's lying, but you think that. So now you just provided the audience with reason, and anyone who buys your argument with reason to doubt everything you're saying now.
What did I provide?
Anyone
That
who
when I
bought-
defend myself, I'll be malicious? Sure.
If you buy the reason, if you buy the inference that from malice we can infer someone's lying, or it's like very plausible, well then why should I trust anything you said in this debate? If you
Well,
admit to
you see,
malice?
Bob, we have to go back to the Bob defense. Let's go back to the start of all this. Did I have any maliciousness towards you?
Could you answer my question?
Yeah, I will, but we can just go through an inference here, right? So the inference is Bob attacks Andrew, right? There's malice here, right?
One second.
There's malice.
I need a pee. Give me one sec. I'll be back in like 20 seconds.
Why do my fucking haters all like this, bro? Why are they all fucking internet autist fucking lunatics? Why? Why? What do you mean he's a little kid? He's 22 fucking years old. How is he a little kid? He's 22. Will they fucking infantilize these adults? These fucking adults? He's 22 fucking years old. Guy could have been in the fucking army for 4 years already. Like, what do you fucking mean? He's a little kid. How's he a child? He's 20 fucking 2. He's 22.
Nah, Bob's big enough and ugly enough to handle his business, for sure. 22's old enough.
Anyway, Bob. Yeah, I think I demonstrated that you attacked me with maliciousness and that your motivation was revenge. So, yeah.
Okay. Consistency check.
Mhm.
Should the audience now think that every claim you made tonight there's a plausible presumption in favor of your claims being dishonest? Should the
No.
audience think that? No?
Not for me, but I'm the person defending, not the person attacking. My motivation only here is to defend myself from your ridiculous claims. Your motivation was actually to destroy me by your own admission.
And your admission.
To destroy you in a debate, not destroy you, Bob. I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to defend myself from your claims. You said you were here to fucking destroy me. You made this to destroy me. This video will destroy Andrew Wilson.
Mhm.
Big difference there, Bob.
And you said you'd destroy me in this debate, did you not?
Yeah. Yep. The best way to destroy you in this debate is by being completely honest. That's the best way to do it.
But you said you're going to destroy me. And you said that saying you're going to destroy someone is reason to think they're lying.
To destroy somebody, right? Not to destroy somebody in a debate.
That doesn't sound like a relevant distinction at all.
How is it not a relevant distinction? I'm going to destroy you in this game of chess. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy your life. You don't see a degree of maliciousness difference there, Bob? You don't see one? You don't see it as being relevant? I'm going to destroy you in this game of checkers. I'm going to destroy you at this video game. I'm going to destroy your fucking life. You don't see a degree of
I never
difference
said I was going
there.
to destroy your life. I didn't say that.
I'm going to destroy you.
Intellectually.
No, that's not what you said, Bob.
Well, what did you think I meant?
Ah, I see. So I should be charitable to what it is that you meant. I'll do that, Bob. Can you agree to be charitable to what I meant?
When?
In that clip I played, when I gave you the context for it and told you exactly what I meant and then demonstrated it for everybody.
Oh, yeah. If you want to make the claim I was uncharitable, I wasn't. I agree. I was not charitable. I agree.
So
with
you're
you.
not charitable. I need to be charitable with you, though.
I'm not saying that.
But I should be.
I don't think I said that. I don't think I committed myself to that position.
Oh, okay. But do you want me to be?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like that too, Bob. Just in the future, maybe you could be charitable towards me.
Okay.
And by the way, can I ask you, since we've beaten this dead horse, right, over and over and over again, can we move on to the hypocrisy counter too with Dean and Parker? Can we do that now?
After we clarify why it is that when I say I'm going to destroy you, you think that that's grounds for thinking I'm a liar. But when you say it, oh, it's totally fine.
No, that's not the only grounds that I had. I had that, plus I had your dishonest edits. That changed the context completely. So I had evidence, right, that you were doing something that I had every reason to believe you knew was incorrect, and then combined that with your motivation, which you've now admitted was revenge.
But the audience could see this, and it's going to be on YouTube, I assume. I'm going to say like 5 minutes ago. I don't remember exactly when, but skip back. You'll see that you said, and I made sure you confirmed this so I could get you in this trap. I asked you.
There's no trap, Bob.
Maybe you're not aware of it.
No, Bob, there just isn't any trap.
Okay, well, the trap I think you're in is I asked you, hey, Andrew, if someone says they're going to destroy someone, is that like good grounds for thinking that they're malicious and you can't trust them? And you're like, yeah, that's great grounds. You're like, never in my life has someone who said, I'm going to destroy you, had good intentions. Usually it's malicious.
Bob, if somebody says they're going to destroy you at Mario Kart, is that different than somebody saying they're going to destroy you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if I'm going to destroy you in a debate, is that different than saying I'm going to destroy you?
It depends what the person meant by I'm going to destroy you. Right? And I meant intellectually. That was quite obvious.
So I should be, again, charitable to your view.
It's not about charitable. It's about what I plausibly meant.
What you plausibly meant.
Right.
So in that clip, could I have plausibly meant what I said?
What do you mean meant what you said?
When I told you that I was telling this chick, hey, no, and then went off on the actual criticisms that I was talking about. Not that I've never been mean to women. Isn't that plausible?
Now that's not relevant, though.
But is it plausible?
That's a red herring. I'm interrogating you.
How? What do you mean? It's not like anybody's turn for interrogation. We're having a debate, right? So the thing is like, I'm asking you, is that plausible?
This seems like a distraction. I want to know.
How is it a distraction? It's completely relevant.
It's a distraction because I stated that before we move on, what I want to nail down is why it is that when I say I'm going to destroy you, that's grounds for thinking.
Because absent context, when I have a hit piece video and see you take things out of context, it looks like you want really bad things for me. For me. I want bad things for you in this debate, not bad things for you, Bob. I want you to go off and have a merry life. I want you to go off and marry and have tons of kids and make $1 billion fucking dollars, Bob. That's a big difference between I want bad things for you and I don't want you to win this debate. The big fucking difference.
Bad things for you. Never said.
No. But if he's saying destroy bad things, that means bad things for you. I want to destroy you. That means bad things for you. Yes, it does, Bob. That was the context I gave you. I've never heard anybody say I'm going to fucking destroy you, and they meant good things are coming your way.
Oh, I definitely didn't mean good things are coming your way. Neither did I mean I want bad things to come.
Well, I don't know, Bob. How the fuck should I know what you mean? All I know is you said I'm going to destroy you. This video is going to destroy you. This video is going to take you down. This video is going to do this. It's going to do that. It's going to do all sorts of bad things to you.
Right.
That's what you said, Bob. And then I had the video itself, and then I got your motivation of revenge, right? It looks like I got pretty clear motive. Your internal critique of me is me saying, yeah, I'm going to destroy you in a debate. That's a huge difference, Bob. Huge.
All right, fellas, I think that it's probably about time to move this debate on. We have really taken this one to its fullest extent, I'd say. So what is the next topic that we wanted to go to?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up this hypocrisy here. Give me a second before you share screen, please. I'll tell you when. Go ahead. Share screen. Okay, so this is Bob's second critique, right? From Andrew's supposed hypocrisy counter.
I have two gaytheists on the panel that have said that I bullied them.
This kind of behavior. Look at this behavior.
That's called a joke. That's called a joke, sensitive man.
So funny, Jay Dyer.
Oh my God. That was funny, by the way.
Look at this behavior.
Okay, does not care about offending others. You see this?
This behavior is out of
you
control.
are too gay.
It's too much bad behavior.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Sure.
You think white people?
Okay, there we go. So he's saying Andrew doesn't care about offending others. Stop share, please. I can't debate with him if he's not in the chair. You want to stop sharing the screen real quick? Okay. So then he goes on to put this up. He goes on to put up this exchange. Go ahead and pull it up. Okay, so he's saying this is the hypocrisy because I don't care about offending others, but I care about being offended myself.
Us blaspheming the Holy Spirit, they get really angry with.
And you don't seem to care about doing that, do you?
They're
gets all indignant about his feelings. Again, he cuts out critical context.
Against Andrew over things that he cares very passionately about religion. It is to him. It is to him.
A slur was not defended.
What's really interesting about this clip, and you can stop sharing screen, is that even Pierce Morgan got it, Jake. Even Pierce Morgan got it. So what was happening here was I was pointing out to them, hey guys, right? You have no problem being hypercritical of Christians at all, but it is the case that you get big mad when people make jokes about X, Y, and Z. Pierce Morgan caught it immediately and said, yeah, what about that? That seems like it's kind of a contradiction. This had nothing to do with me being indignant about anything. This was me running an internal critique and showing how they're committing a fallacy. They're committing a hypocrisy, essentially. They're saying what you're doing, right? Well, I guess it's not as much hypocrisy even, but maybe it is. We'll just go with hypocrisy. Yeah, we'll just go with hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy.
But you attributed this hypocrisy to me. How could this be hypocrisy from me when I'm pointing out, wait a second, it doesn't offend me. You attack Christians, I'm not offended. I'm just pointing out that it's absurd that you would say that if you make a racial joke on stage or something like this, you get all butthurt, but then have no problem assaulting the values of somebody. Like you don't care about that at all, as long as they're Christians. That's me pointing out their hypocrisy. Can you explain to me how this was me being hypocritical?
Right. So them being hypocritical and you pointing out that they're being hypocritical, which I agree with. I saw the full clip. I thought they were being hypocritical for sure. And actually, not that this is relevant, I just feel like saying it. When you pointed out that they were being hypocritical, I recall from the clip, they actually like committed a shift in goalposts. You're like, you're being hypocritical. And they were like, well, it's not a slur to make fun of Christians. And you rightfully pointed out, you're like, it doesn't matter if it's not a slur.
So how's that attributed as a hypocrisy count for me?
I'll explain. You calling them hypocritical and them being hypocritical is perfectly compatible. It's not mutually exclusive with you also being a hypocrite. So I think both of you guys are being hypocritical.
But how was I being hypocritical in this clip?
Here's how.
Okay.
You were clearly, I think to that most people, it would be clear that you didn't care to offend them. Would you agree to that?
What?
I'm starting off with this first premise. When they were offended, you didn't give a shit. You thought it was amusing. Would you agree?
I don't know if I thought it was necessarily amusing. I thought that mocking the faux moral outrage, meaning I don't think they were offended, one. And two, I think it was faux outrage, meaning they weren't even really outraged. They're just pretending to be outraged.
Would you agree you didn't care that they were offended though?
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the context there. The context there was I didn't believe they were offended.
If they were, would you have cared?
Perhaps not. I don't, but it would depend on the context then and whatever that situation was. Perhaps, depending on what it was. Like, it's not my mission in life to offend people for the sake of offending them because I find it amusing. There could be times when I offend people and it is amusing, but my purpose in life is not to offend for the purpose of amusement.
So I'm not making the claim that it's your purpose in life, but in that context, the thing I have in mind where you were clearly insensitive is Jay Dyer made this lame joke about gay theists. And Danny said, look at this behavior. This is ridiculous. And you mockingly repeated back to Danny in like this weird voice, oh, look at this behavior. Look at this behavior.
Yeah, that's faux outrage because I believe it was faux outrage from Danny. Like, I don't think Danny cares that much, honestly.
Why on earth would you think that?
Because I've talked with Danny and he's got way thicker skin than he lets on. And I've talked with Danny multiple times before this. Well, yeah, I mean, Parker told me that he'd never even called a friend of his, shut up, gay, or whatever. Even in privacy, he's never used that language. And yeah, of course I don't believe that. Like, and the reason I don't believe that is because like guys like Dean and other guys, they've had DMs come out where they clearly use that language within these groups. Like, I have every reason to believe that they do.
I think we could both agree Parker's a wimp. Parker does not have thick skin. You think he has thick skin?
I didn't say Parker has thick skin.
You think he's
Danny has thick skin. But the point is like, let's just, for the sake of the critique, grant it. Sure, I don't care.
So my point is, it seems like when they were offended. Now you want to say you don't believe they were offended, but I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But let's grant it. They were offended. You didn't care. We're granting.
You think that like Parker, when he's like, that's him actually being offended, really?
I think Parker's offended by slurs. I think he is.
Okay, whatever. So anyway,
Maybe
okay,
he's exaggerating.
So the thing is like, what's the hypocrisy though? Let's get to that. Let's just get to it.
So in order to establish hypocrisy, we have to first get you disregarding a certain precedent. That's how I was honing in on this. So you disregarded, and you granted this at least now, that you disregarded them being offended, right? So if you don't have a regard for them being offended, but then when someone blasphemes the Holy Spirit or makes fun of Christianity or whatever, and you say, hey, you can't do that, that's like violating my boundaries. Well, that's hypocritical because you're telling people not to violate your boundaries, but then you go ahead and violate theirs.
Wait a second. Hang on, let's back up. So let me make sure I got this right. Pointing out to them that they have no problem whatsoever attacking Christians, and then me utilizing that as a point, right? Me saying, hey, look, you have no problem attacking Christians at all. And then over here, you'll get all sorts of upset when there's a slur going on here. You agree that that's hypocrisy, right?
No.
You don't agree that that's them being hypocritical?
Oh, they're being hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah, that's them being hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
What point there did I look even the slightest bit offended that they were attacking the Holy Spirit or any of that?
At that point, I didn't make the claim. At that point, you were offended.
When was I offended anywhere in this video?
Right. You said, and this is almost verbatim, you had said, whatever offends is the slur. Then Parker went on to say, well, you have to be offended to a certain threshold for me to care. And he responded, well, it meets my threshold.
Yeah, that's an internal critique, though.
And in order to launch that critique, you had to get off the ground that you were, like, in order for the internal critique to get off the ground, you had to grant that you were offended to a sufficient degree.
In order to do an internal critique, I don't have to assume the position is true, just assume the position for the purpose of the critique.
Well, if you didn't.
So like, if you say, if someone, let me give you an example. This is easy stuff, by the way. This is basic philosophy. If it's the case that I assume a position for the purpose of giving a criticism, that doesn't mean that I believe the position, dude. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I know that.
Yeah. So what are you talking about? At what point here, when I'm launching the internal critique, did I say anything about being offended by anything they say?
Because some internal critiques are only going to work if you stipulate certain premises.
Yeah,
So
I stipulated the premise that you have no problem attacking Christians, right? So if I'm offended right now, you don't care, but I'm supposed to care that you're offended. That's the whole criticism.
Right. So it wouldn't be a criticism unless you really were offended.
No, you don't really have to be offended in order to assume the position. If I was offended, you wouldn't care.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it was a conditional if I was. But in that instance, in the instance at hand with you and Parker, if the claim was that you were not offended in that context, then your internal critique is not get off the ground.
Yes, it's still off the ground because the conditional is present. You have no problem if you find this thing offensive. If I say I'm offended by this, you don't care, but I'm supposed to care that you're offended by this. So the criticism stands fine, just fine. No issues with it at all. I don't even have to assume the position that I'm offended by it.
Well, it didn't seem like that's what you were doing. You guys, it didn't seem like you were saying, well, hypothetically, you were making the claim they were actually hypocritical, not hypothetically hypocritical, right?
They are actually hypocritical.
You don't get
because they were actually attacking Christians. In actuality, that has no basis on whether or not it offends me or not. People attack Christians all day long, and when I'm in debates with them, they attack Christianity all day long. I haven't found that offensive in years. In years.
Right. But in order for them to actually be hypocritical, you can't resort to a hypothetical or a conditional. It has to be actual, right?
No, it doesn't. That's bullshit. What are you talking about? That literally makes no sense. That's not even a position. That's incoherent on its face, dude. Why would I need in actuality to be offended to point out that they were attempting to be offensive? You're attempting to be offensive towards group A, but get mad when there's offense towards group B. Why would I need to in any way, shape, or form to personally be offended by what they're saying? Why?
First,
no, answer my question, and then you can ask me
what
one.
Exactly is your question?
My question is, why would I personally need to be offended if you're trying to be offensive? To point out you're trying to be offensive, but don't care if this group over here is offended. Or you care if this group is offended, but don't care that this group is offended that you're trying to offend. Why would that require me to actually be offended by that?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And that's that.
It's not, because that's not what happened.
It is what happened. It's literally what happened. Show me the point in this video where I was actually offended by anything they said. I was mocking them, in fact, the entire time by how butthurt they were getting about everything that was said. That was the whole point, is mocking the entire thing. If you go after Christianity, that's all these guys do. That's what most atheists do. Do you think Jay Dyer finds it offensive at this point, or I find it offensive at this point? That's all they do. It's not offensive to us, but the arguments need to be destroyed. That's true.
Why did you say it meets the threshold of offended with respect to me?
So in this case, you realize that Parker's threshold's arbitrary.
How is that answering my question?
Because answer was Parker's threshold arbitrary.
No.
Okay, then what's his threshold? When is it met?
I don't know.
Well, then that you don't know because it's arbitrary.
What?
Yeah, he's saying I didn't say it's because you don't know. I said you don't know because it's arbitrary.
And you established that?
He said it himself. I asked it. I said, this is arbitrary. He said, yes. What do you mean? He literally said it was arbitrary in the clips.
That doesn't make it arbitrary. If he thinks it's arbitrary, that doesn't make it arbitrary.
Okay. I have a threshold for being offended.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't tell you what that is.
Okay.
Is that an arbitrary threshold?
Let's be clear. What do you mean by arbitrary?
Without system. There's no system for it.
No, there could be a system. You just may not be aware of it.
So if I say it's arbitrary, you have reason to doubt that it's arbitrary, or like what? Parker said it's arbitrary. The threshold's arbitrary. It was based literally on just how I feel. That's it. That's it.
Right, but I don't think people's feelings in this regard are just like arbitrary without system.
Yeah, they are without system. Okay, so if you just make this claim because I feel that way, right? You can have some threshold in between, like starting at 1 all the way to a gazillion, right? I guess. So I could just say whatever threshold I want, I find offensive, including not even being offended. I find that offensive. I could just kind of say whatever I want. It's arbitrary. There's no system to it. It's just feelings based, right?
I mean, you could use a system arbitrarily, but that doesn't mean it is arbitrary.
Okay. in this case, I was running an internal criticism. I'm saying if it's the case that that it met my threshold, whatever that was, and it's clear that that's what I'm saying here, right? Now I'm offended. Do you care? No, I don't care. Got it. That's hypocrisy. That's them being hypocrite, not me. It has nothing to do with me. That's an internal critique. And I often do that. I often assume the position to show the hypocrisy. That doesn't mean I believe it.
Okay, maybe, but yeah, generally speaking, I don't buy that you particularly care at all if people are offended when you use like sensitive words to like the LGBT community. You don't care.
For the most part, for that community, I don't.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that using offensive words themselves, that there's not times where I won't give offense on purpose, because there are, for sure.
Right. So you don't care about their boundaries. But then presumably,
yeah,
you care about the Christian community's boundaries.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Even if that's the case, that would not be hypocrisy. Do you understand?
I think it would.
How?
Because you're telling people not to do something that you yourself do.
That's not hypocrisy.
Yes, it is.
I smoke. I don't think you should smoke. Is that hypocrisy?
If you criticize others for smoking, then
that's still not hypocrisy.
Yes, it is.
How?
I mean, that's the definition.
No, it's not the definition.
No, it's not.
Pull up the definition of hypocrisy.
I have the definition right here.
Read it.
1 second. Okay. Hypocrisy. One who tells people not to do things they themselves do. Worse are those who insult people for doing those same things. UrbanDictionary.com. Do you want the link?
Did you say Urban Dictionary?
Yeah. What's the problem?
Urban Dictionary? That's a meme dictionary, bro. That's memeing. Can we get like a Britannica or any Webster, anything? Urban
What's
Dictionary?
wrong with Urban Dictionary?
I'm gonna pull one up, fellas.
Oh yeah, Urban Dictionary.
What's wrong with that,
bro?
What's wrong with that?
This? Hypocrisy from Merriam-Webster. A feigning to be
what one is not, or to believe what one does not. Behavior that contradicts what one claims to believe. So if I say to you, bro, I smoke, right? But I believe that smoking is going to kill you and you should stop smoking. That would not make me a hypocrite.
Correct.
So in this case, when you said if you have boundaries for Christians, but are willing to violate other people's boundaries, that would not make you a hypocrite either.
Right, but that's not what you... Right. But that's not
right. That's what you claimed, though.
No.
Do you want to retract that claim?
I'm claiming that if you criticize others for not respecting the Christian community's boundaries, then you yourself don't respect the LGBTQ people's boundaries.
Do I espouse that you should respect the LGBTQ boundaries and then I don't respect those boundaries? Because that's what hypocrisy would be. Hypocrisy would not be saying you need to respect Christian boundaries, right? But you can disrespect other boundaries. That would be a value if I had it and lived it, would not be hypocrisy, correct?
Repeat that. I missed that. I'm sorry.
If I say I'm a Christian, those boundaries should be respected. LGBTQ boundaries should not. And then live that. That's the opposite of hypocrisy. If I say LGBTQ boundaries should be respected and then disrespect them, that would be hypocrisy, right?
Correct.
Then what you just said is an incoherent contradiction, because you just said that if it's the case that I have boundaries for Christians that I want respected, but say it's fine to disrespect other boundaries, that's hypocrisy. It is not at all.
Well, in that case, but that's not the case at hand.
That's even the case at hand, yes. That's literally the case you just made over and over and over again. It's hypocritical for you to say you must respect Christian boundaries, but at the same exact time, disrespect other people's boundaries. No, it isn't. That is not hypocritical at all. That's not what a hypocrisy is. You had no idea what hypocrisy even means.
Okay, two things. First of all, the actual statement about you being a hypocrite, I'll address that in a second because you are a hypocrite in that regard. Second, me not knowing the definition of hypocrite, I could give you 3 definitions off the top of my head.
From Urban Dictionary.
I could give you 3 definitions off the top of my head and then give a source for each of them off the top.
Do you
of my
agree with the definition that I gave that he just pulled up from Merriam-Webster?
What do you mean, do I agree with it?
Do you agree with that definition, or are we going to go with a proprietary definition?
What do you mean by do agree with it?
Can we accept the definition?
Do you accept that definition as being the definition of hypocrisy or not?
So I don't think there's the definition for a word. That's not a thing.
Okay. So when we say words, do they have meaning?
Mm-hmm.
How do we ascertain the meaning?
By the patterns that we pick up on in our linguistic community.
Okay, so we need to share some sort of meaning here that we can agree to, or we're going to end up equivocating, right?
No, we need to share meaning, but that doesn't mean we're going to end up equivocating. But
we're likely going to end up speaking past.
Likely,
if you mean hypocrisy in a different way than I mean hypocrisy, then we're probably going to end up with equivocation here somewhere, aren't we?
Sure.
Okay, great. So then can we pull up the definition of hypocrisy again, Jake? I just want to make sure that we can get an agreement with this, Bob. Feigning to be what one is not, or to believe what one does not. Behavior that contradicts what one claims to believe. So, Bob, if I believe it's fine to be disrespectful towards LGBTQ communities, but I don't think it's fine to be disrespectful towards Christian communities, that is not hypocrisy, correct?
That alone is not hypocrisy.
That's right. It's not. Now, Bob, can we agree that if I say you should be respectful towards LGBTQ communities, and then I'm disrespectful towards LGBTQ communities, that is hypocrisy, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, then you need to explain how in any way, shape, or form here I'm a hypocrite.
Sure.
In the context of these clips.
Sure. So you could pull up whatever definition for hypocrite you want. I'm claiming that according to the definition I pulled up, you're a hypocrite.
Just quickly, with the Urban Dictionary, Urban Dictionary is more where we go to sort of see the definition of like reverse cowgirl or something like that,
Bob,
as opposed to.
Okay, then, do you accept any definition which is given for hypocrite, including a proprietary one?
Why is that relevant?
It's relevant because in this case, you're saying that according to the Urban Dictionary definition, I'm a hypocrite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you accept that definition as being true?
No.
You don't? You don't accept the definition of the word you just accused me of using as being the true definition of the word?
Should I sort that out?
Yeah, what you mean by that word this?
Look,
you mean by that word this?
You asked me if I accept that definition.
Yeah.
I don't know what on earth that means. What I'm doing is not accepting a definition. I'm saying that according to that definition, whether I accept it or not, you meet the criteria. That's all.
Wait, I'm curious here. Do you usually accuse people of things using words where you don't agree with the meaning of the very words you're using to make the accusation to them? Like if I say you're a murderer, Bob, and what I mean is you're a thief, that makes no sense, right? If I actually mean, hey, that guy stole a Snickers bar, he's a murderer. Does that sound incoherent to you?
Not
that murderer stole that guy stole a Snickers bar, he's a murderer.
That would be a persuasive definition fallacy.
Yes. So the thing is like this definition you're giving from Urban Dictionary, you're giving a different definition than I am, which means you're giving a different meaning to the word than I am. Correct, Bob?
Sure.
Okay. Why is it then That you're saying you accept that meaning?
No. I was very clear. I don't know what it means to
So what the
accept-
fuck does hypocrisy mean then, Bob?
It's going to depend on what definition we're citing. when we make
What do you mean by it, Bob?
what the Urban Dictionary states as what hypocrisy is. That's what I mean. And according to that understanding, you're a hypocrite.
And in all of these cases, do you mean what the Urban Dictionary means by it, Bob?
No.
What do you mean what are other cases where you mean something different by it then?
Can we just stick to this claim that you're a hypocrite?
We are sticking to this claim. We're unfurling what hypocrisy means, which is the key portion of the claim. Andrew, hypocrite. The meaning of hypocrite then must be known, Bob.
Okay. So
Just
here are the-
quickly, guys, just the Urban Dictionary is a crowdsourced online dictionary for slang and cultural terms and phrases. So it's not necessarily like a good source for like actual
It's not
dictionary words.
authoritative. Yes, it's not authoritative.
No dictionary is authoritative. That's
Well,
absurd.
here's the thing,
No,
Bob.
wait. Do you agree no dictionary is authoritative? Come on, that's
Sure,
not-
but all you got to do then is grant that any proprietary definition I have is just as authoritative as any dictionary definition you have.
So authoritative, I would say yeah, because no dictionary is authoritative.
So then
Here's-
any proprietary definition I have is just as valid as any dictionary definition that's out there, right?
what do you mean by valid?
Well, if it's not authoritative, if a dictionary is not authoritative towards words and what we mean by those words, then any proprietary definition that I have, why wouldn't that be equally as authoritative? Meaning it's not authoritative. Nothing's authoritative. No, there's no. Okay, got it. Then what I mean by hypocrisy is everybody who has the online handle Bob. They're all hypocrites. You're a hypocrite, Bob, definitionally.
Okay.
That's what I mean by it, Bob.
So is the objection you're making? What's the objection you're making?
That what you're using as hypocrisy is not actually what hypocrisy means. That's not what the word means. You used a source from Urban Dictionary, which, by the way, is literally used for slang. Things like this is not a thing which is referenced for general definitions of words ever. It's for like the word sweet. You don't actually mean sugar, right? You mean like sweet, man. This is awesome and rad.
Wait,
and
I want to
stuff.
get something clear here. When you say that the Urban Dictionary is not actually what hypocrisy means, what are
The
you
definition
using?
you're using is not what that's not the definition I use for hypocrisy. That's not what it means.
There's a
Not
defi- okay, yeah, what do you mean when you say it's not what it means? It sounds as though implicit in that statement is that there's some sort of objective standard of meaning. There isn't, unless you think there is, and I think that's obviously absurd. Do you think
how
there's
do
an
we find
object
how do we find meaning for words?
based off our linguistic community and the patterns?
And so
that
the
we-
more people who use a word in a certain context, we assign that word the meaning of the word.
the more people that use the word in the context,
That's the meaning of the word. Because it's community based, right?
I wouldn't.
Like, how are we fucking speaking right now, Bob, and you understand the words coming out of my mouth? How?
Because I learned, that's a very simple question to answer. Because I learned the words you're using via association with other people using those words in similar contexts. And now I try, when I speak, to imitate the usage that other people in my community employed.
So the community, in this case, is authoritative on what those words mean.
What do you mean by authoritative?
Well, for instance, if you just started walking around and going, nobody would understand fucking words you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they said, that doesn't mean anything, are they lying to you, Bob?
Lying?
No.
How should I? Okay, no.
No, they're not lying to you, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's just gibberish. It's just fucking garbage just coming out of your mouth. So the community here, in this case, would have to have some agreement on what words mean, or they couldn't even communicate with each other, right?
They'd have to have a common understanding, yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to community-wide
I'm not disputing that,
understanding.
though. What do you
So if
think
that's the
I'm
case,
saying?
what's the community-wide understanding of the word fucking hypocrite? Is it the Urban Dictionary or the Webster Dictionary? That's my question, Bob.
So the Urban Dictionary, that's a false dichotomy.
Between the two, these are your two choices. Which one would the community, right, give the most meaning to?
I need a 30-second break. Give me 30 seconds. Sorry.
"50 hypocrisy claims, or 30 or 20 or some shit of Andrew is a hypocrite, doesn't fucking know what hypocrite means. Doesn't know what the fucking word means. Hey, Himbo's there.
Urban Dictionary, a dumb or naive man who, despite looking like an asshole Chad, is actually sweet, respectful, and kind. Typically large, beefy, relatively handsome, but friendly, gentle giants, if you will. Perhaps the best example of a himbo is Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove, large, strong, and stupid, but extremely kind and respectful. Also incredibly innocent and unaware of many events happening around him. Sorry, we're back. We're back.
Himbo's a good word. But anyway.
Yeah. That's what I get called around here, Bob. I get called the bloody himbo. But anyways, carry on.
Anyway.
So you asked me if I had a choice between like Urban Dictionary or Merriam-Webster.
No. I'm asking, based on your community-wide understanding of this word and how it's used, was the definition in the Merriam-Webster that I pulled up more in line with that, or the definition that you pulled up from urbandictionary.com? That's my question.
I think they're both in line.
They're both in line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my honest answer.
Okay.
I think if someone would meet the criteria of either definition, they'd be a hypocrite according to the common understanding in normal English community.
Then help me out here. Can you read the definition for me again?
Of which
the one from Urban Dictionary that you read, the first one?
Right. So just based off memory, it's going to be somebody that tells other people not to do something that they themselves do. Mm-hmm. Worse, someone who criticizes others for doing something that they themselves do.
Then Bob, remember when I asked you, is it hypocritical of me to tell you that not to smoke even though I smoke? And you said no.
Right, because you're not criticizing me.
It's not what your definition said, Bob.
Oh, I see. You're right.
So, Bob, you just got caught in a contradiction, didn't you?
Wait.
Well, Bob, you can't say that this definition that I gave you is true, but at the same time that it's applied, it's not true. That makes no sense. So you can't say that I can tell you not to smoke even though I smoke. That's not hypocritical, but then give me a definition where it would have to be, Bob. That makes no sense. That's a contradiction. That's P and not P at the same time, Bob. It's a proposition and it's fucking negation, Bob.
So I don't think that's what I'm doing. I think I would repeat what you said. I'm going to try to hone in very carefully on this. Repeat what you're saying about smoking.
Bob, the definition that you said is somebody who tells people not to do things that they do. I say, Bob, I smoke. You shouldn't smoke. That's me telling you not to do a thing that I do. You said that's not hypocrisy. If that's not hypocrisy, Bob, then your definition can't even be true by your own accounting. It would be a performative contradiction. We caught it in real time. P and not P.
I think you may have got me. I'll admit that. I'm not completely sure.
Oh.
So when you tell me not to smoke, let me pull up the definition. Well, here's what I'm thinking right now. First of all,
now you want to look at your own definition.
To be sure. I want to be.
Gotta be sure, Bob.
Before I respond, I want to say that this is a good criticism. Like I want to get that clear. Like if I get out of this, I'm going to have to work hard to do that. Like I think you're raising a good point here. But before I want to fully admit, like you completely got me, I want to make sure I have the exact definition and exactly what you're saying and see if I'm actually contradicting myself.
Okay, Bob.
Is that not fair?
Of course. Go ahead.
Is that not fair?
You got the floor, bro. Totally fair.
Okay. One who tells people not to do things they themselves do. right? And you're to say don't smoke, and then you yourself smoke. So yeah, according to the Urban Dictionary, that'd be a contradiction.
Yeah, you're fucked, Bob. That's the end of that, Bob. So you didn't actually mean that I'm a hypocrite by the Urban Dictionary definition at all, Bob. What you actually meant was I was a hypocrite by the definition that I gave. And so what's really funny here is that we just demonstrated that I can't be a hypocrite by the definition I gave, also by your own admission, Bob. You're fucked. You're fucked, bro. You're fucking done. That's it. Game, set, and match. It's motherfucking checkmate, Bob. Sorry, bro. When you have moves on the logical chessboard, next time make sure that you play your hard cards better, Bob. And with that, I'm done. Debate's over. What else is there to debate? You didn't even know what fucking hypocrisy meant. And you meant by hypocrisy a thing that can't be true. It would be contradictory. Therefore, every time you reference me as being a hypocrite, it can't be true because by your own definition, it would be contradictory, Bob. That's it. Game,
you
set,
don't want to hear my
match.
response? You don't want to hear my
I
response?
can't fucking wait, Bob.
Okay, here's my response.
And then we'll go into some super chats after this.
First of all, again, I want to emphasize you raised a fair point. But there's a dichotomy here, which is that either I'm going to have to go with the dictionary definition, in which case you do meet the criteria. And I'll just retract what I said earlier, that when you say don't smoke and then you yourself smoke, when I said that you weren't a hypocrite, I was just wrong. So I could retract that. If we're going with the...
Are you going to retract it though, Bob?
I'll present the dichotomy, and then depending on which horn we go down, I'll then make my adjustment.
Okay.
So if we go down dictionary usage, that's what I'll do. And then it just falls out of the dictionary usage. You're a hypocrite. Now, what I prefer to do, and I just want to make it very clear that what I'm presenting here is not some like ad hoc usage of the term hypocrite to organize to make it such that you're a hypocrite. I'm using Michael Humer's understanding of how language operates that you could find in the first chapter of this book, Understanding Knowledge. This is the basis for my clarification. If we go with like communal usage of the word, which I think is also fair, I'm going to say you're a hypocrite on that account as well. So I'll say, you pick one. Are we going to go with dictionary usage, in which case you're a hypocrite, and all I need to do is take back my prior statement? Or are we going to go with colloquial usage, in which case you're a hypocrite? Which is it?
Well, Bob, let's do both because this is fun. Let's start with the colloquial usage. What's that?
So, colloquial usage. To best communicate that, I think we give examples, not like necessary and sufficient conditions, as stated by like Humer in this book.
Okay.
Do you think that's fair?
Sure.
Okay. So, according to colloquial usage, I'm going to give like 5 examples
Just
of
give
a
me
hypocrite,
one.
and then
Just
say
give me
that-
one or two.
Okay. They're very fast, so I could just rattle them off. But yeah, I'm going to say that the pattern of the usage of the word applies to you equally, and it's just going to fall out of that you're a hypocrite according to colloquial usage.
Okay.
So you could go on the, I've done this. You could go on the internet and you could search up like hypocrite example. And here's what you'll find. You'll find someone who tells others not to wear fur, animal fur, but then when it gets cold, they pull out some animal fur jacket.
Got it.
A boss that tells his employees not to come late, but himself comes late.
Makes sense.
A father that tells his sons not to lie, but he himself lies.
Makes sense too.
Somebody that tells others not to cut people in the supermarket, but cuts people in the supermarket.
You mean cuts in front of them?
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew Wilson.
So that
who tells
definition
others
would,
not to smoke, but then smokes.
that
fits
would
the
be a
pattern.
hypocrite, right?
Right.
A person who tells their 3-year-old not to drive and then drives.
According to colloquial usage, yes.
So you think, according to colloquial usage, that people are going to, when I say, hey, man, Fred, you can't let that 3-year-old drive. He's like, well, why not? You drive, you fucking hypocrite. Can you help me out in how, in any way, shape, or form that makes any kind of sense, Bob?
Okay. Yeah. I retract that it's hypocritical in that case.
Ah, well, then your colloquial usage doesn't make no more sense, does it, Bob?
Why?
Well, because, Bob, you just gave a bunch of examples, which is all the examples are you're doing a thing and then tell another person not to do the thing. That's every colloquial example you gave. It also fits the Urban Dictionary definition you gave. And yet here we're telling a person not to do a thing that we ourselves do, and that's not hypocritical. That's another contradiction, Bob.
So in the colloquial sense, no, it's not a contradiction.
It's not?
No, not in the colloquial sense, of course not.
So in the colloquial sense, what makes it not a contradiction?
What makes it not a contradiction is that in the colloquial sense, nowhere in the colloquial sense by giving examples do I commit myself to necessary or sufficient conditions.
Oh, so you're just not going to tell me what the fucking word means then, Bob? You're just going to give me a colloquial example and then say, but if you give me the same exact example, that somehow isn't. But when I give you all these other examples, it somehow is.
No, it's not arbitrary.
It sure sounds fucking arbitrary. Why am I not a hypocrite? Okay, well, here, Bob, let me help you out. If you told a person, right, hey, man, probably shouldn't drink and then drive, and you have before drunk and drive, are you a hypocrite?
Yeah, that sounds hypocritical.
Sounds hypocritical?
Yeah.
So then, Bob, why the fuck do schools bring in former drug addicts to tell kids not to be drug addicts? Are they being hypocrites? Why are they bringing in hypocrites to do that, Bob? These people are hypocrites. They did a bunch of drugs, and then they're telling people not to do drugs. And they don't just bring them in for kids. They bring them in for adults and tell them not to do drugs. Those fucking hypocrites.
Hypocrite doesn't disqualify you from being able to give good advice.
Oh, you're just a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
You're a hypocrite giving good advice.
Sure.
So you can be a hypocrite and that's good?
You could be a hypocrite and be a good person, yeah.
No, not a good person. In this case, wouldn't you being a hypocrite be good? After all, you yourself, the former drug addict, are now telling people not to do drugs. How could that be anything but a good thing? Your hypocrisy, Bob, in this case, is good. Isn't it?
So someone who does drugs tells others not to do drugs, they're a hypocrite, and the hypocrisy is good?
Well, I mean, it has to be. If they're giving the advice, they're being hypocrites. But the advice is good. It's the very hypocrisy that makes the advice good, isn't it?
What's the objection?
The objection is that makes no sense as far as what hypocrisy would actually mean, because hypocrisy has a negative connotation attached to it. So if now hypocrisy is positive, that makes no sense. So how could it be that somebody who's addicted to, let's just say this, you have HIV. You tell people don't get HIV. That would be bad. It's real bad to have HIV. How about cancer, Bob? I got cancer. Don't get cancer. That sucks. They're fucking hypocrites, right, Bob?
No, because getting cancer is not an action. That's something that happens.
AIDS
to you.
is. AIDS
What?
is. You got AIDS from anal sex with a homosexual, Bob. And you tell people, don't have anal sex with homosexuals and get AIDS. You're a fucking hypocrite, aren't you, Bob?
Correct.
Yeah, fucking hypocrite. So those guys, when they go in and tell their story and it helps other people, right? When they say, don't do this thing that I did, their hypocrisy is now a good thing. Isn't it, Bob?
Sure. Nowhere in the definition of hypocrisy does it say that it has to be negative. You're just stipulating that and then saying that because of your stipulation, now you're like avoiding the charge of hypocrisy.
Well, how do I know when my hypocrisy is good, Bob? Well, you're calling me a hypocrite. How do I discern whether or not my hypocrisy is good?
I mean, that's shifting the goalposts.
No, it's not. You're calling me a hypocrite. I just want to know if it's good or bad. Is it good or bad that I'm a hypocrite, Bob? Is it good?
That's shifting the goalposts.
How?
The question is whether or not you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, but if I am a hypocrite, if I just granted that, we've now discerned that there's good hypocrisy and there's bad hypocrisy. Bob, which kind of hypocrite would you say I am? The bad kind or the good kind? And then can you tell me which kind is which? Which is the good kind? Which is the bad kind?
It's just uninteresting. If you grant that you're a hypocrite, you can see that portion of the debate. What more is there to say?
Well, I'm just diving a little deeper, one step. I'm just granting it for the sake of argument, not granting it and saying it's true. Just granting it for the sake of argument. For the sake of argument, if I were to say, okay, I'm a hypocrite, you would have to grant that could be a good thing.
It's not within the scope of the debate. That's irrelevant.
Can you just answer my question, Bob? It is in the scope of the debate. I'm giving criticisms of your video, and right now we're talking about hypocrisy, and I want to know the depths of the word hypocrisy so that we know what the meaning is when you call me this thing. Me asking and ascertaining if it can be good or bad is completely irrelevant, and me asking which category of that hypocrisy I fall under seems completely relevant to this debate, Bob.
Really doesn't. The point of my video was to show that you're a hypocrite, not whether or not being a hypocrite is necessarily good or
Well,
bad.
you said that it was a hit piece done for revenge, Bob, which means you must be saying it's bad. So if that's the case, how do I fit into the bad kind of hypocrite?
Because the hit piece is bad. That doesn't entail that every aspect of it is going to be bad.
Okay. Can you tell me which parts of the hypocrisy are good?
I didn't say it was good. I'm just not making a statement that's uninteresting.
It's totally relevant. Andrew Wilson, hypocrite. Here's all the hypocrisies that he does, but sometimes hypocrisy is good.
Sure, sometimes lying is good. Sometimes lying is good.
Is there any context here in which the type of hypocrite I am is good? I'm just
I can
always
make the same weird shift and goalposts back to you. It's just so irrelevant. It's oh, Andrew, you accuse me of lying. Lying to save Jews in your attic from Nazis is good. So when you accuse me of lying,
what's funny about this?
The good lying or the bad lying?
Bob, I can even grant that too. I can even grant that argument too and say there's certain aspects of lying which I would consider good. I can even grant it. And then I give you examples of those, right? Like, you lied and didn't tell the serial killer where your wife was hiding. Right? I can say, okay, that's good. I could just grant it, right? Now we have a delineation. I give you the examples of the delineations of where it's good. And then I could point to a video I made about you. And I could be like, these lies that you told, those were good lies. And these lies you told, those were bad lies. And I think that would be fair inside of a criticism. So which hypocrisies did I do here, which were good hypocrisies versus bad ones, Bob?
Shifting goalposts.
How's that a shifting goalpost? It's totally relevant to the video. I'm now completely confused as to what hypocrisy even means because you claim that a guy who has HIV, who goes in and tells people having HIV is bad, is hypocritical.
Nope.
Yeah, you did, Bob. You did. Bob, you're lying through your teeth. You literally bit all of those bullets, Bob.
Here's what I said. It was slightly different.
Oh.
You said cancer and HIVs. I said, no, those aren't actions. Those are things that happen to you. But then you specified, you said, a homosexual.
I'm sorry. You're right. He got HIV from anal sex, and he tells
right,
people
and that's what I said.
Don't have anal sex.
No,
I
don't like being misrepresented. I don't like that.
Then we just clarified it, Bob. You're right.
But you admit I'm not lying through my teeth. You admit that.
Okay, Bob. Fair enough. I'll just say, okay, just for the sake of not omitting that you just said a guy who got HIV from anal sex who tells other gay men not to get HIV from anal sex is a hypocrite. Therefore, his hypocrisy in this case is good. It seems rational and reasonable to me that when you call me a hypocrite, and you've made many, many, many instances of where you call me a hypocrite, for me to ask you for the determination whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I assume it must be a bad thing because you said you wanted revenge and it was a hit piece. So if that's the case, I want to know which of these hypocrisies are bad or are all of them bad.
I get that you want to know that. But it's not a claim.
But you're not going to tell me.
Defend.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to defend it, Bob.
Exactly. I don't.
No, you don't. I mean, if you don't want to tell me, if you're like withholding the information about whether or not I'm a good or bad hypocrite, I guess that's up to you. You can do that, irrelevant.
Bob. It's not that I'm withholding anything. It's totally irrelevant.
How is it irrelevant? What is this debate about? It's about the video that you made about me, right? Mm-hmm. What questions about that video should be off limits?
I don't have a general principle.
Your general principle was you want revenge.
No, I don't have a general principle about what questions are off limits.
then how would this be shifting goalposts? Was my
Because
question
while I may not
is
have
my
a gen-
question pertinent to the content of the video? Yes.
No.
Yes, it is. The hypocrisy is the claim in the video. My
Right.
question is about the nature of hypocrisy and what type of hypocrite I am. That seems completely relevant to the video.
No, in the video, I made it clear what my goal was, or what the video was trying to do.
Yeah, to
The
paint
point
me
was
out
re-
as being a bad guy, right?
The motive was no. The motive was revenge.
Uh-huh.
Claim that the video was trying to defend was that one, you're a hypocrite, and that two, you're not a good debater. Now, with respect to the hypocrisy, I never said.
Well, I mean, I smashed your head in this debate, Bob.
Do you think that's what happened?
Bob, I've caught you in like 4 contradictions that you've admitted are contradictions. Yeah.
You got me like once.
No, like at least 2 times, but I think I caught you in more than that. I think I caught you 4 times by my count. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not perfect, Bob, but this was real bad for you. Now, I'm happy.
I don't think so. I'm happy with that.
I'm sure.
very
Look,
happy
Bob,
with how
Bob,
this
I'm
went.
sure you do. The Urban Dictionary has another word you should look up. It's called cope. But the thing is like what I wouldn't mind doing is moving from the colloquial sense to the dictionary sense. Can you tell me how I fall under the dictionary definition from Webster as a hypocrite?
Sure. But
Okay.
right before that, I want to finish the thing I was saying before I was interrupted. So I was saying, you asked me, how do I determine what questions are on or off limits? And I said, well, I don't have a general principle. I have a case-by-case analysis. And if you were to sit here and ask me, at what time of the day did you find this clip on the internet? Well, that does have to do with my video, technically. It's obviously irrelevant. And if you were to start insisting that I answer that question and then I'm dodging if I didn't, I would just say it's a shifting goalpost. It's clear that I need to defend the main thesis of my video. Now, if you want to change my goal or make some very odd specification with respect to one of the things I claimed, I don't need to defend that. And it's not within like the scope of what I need to do.
Okay, that's fair. Bob, can I just ask you this? Would it be fair to say that what you mean when you say Andrew Wilson's a hypocrite is that I'm the same type of hypocrite as the man who tells the 3-year-old not to drive the car because they drive cars?
No, I think I said that was not hypocritical.
Okay,
according
then
to
I'm the same
colloquial
type of
usage.
hypocrite as the drug addict, former drug addict, who goes into a school and tells people not to do drugs. I'm the same type of hypocrite as the homosexual who has HIV and goes in and tells people not to have gay anal sex and get HIV. Is that the kind of hypocrite I am?
No.
Okay, then what kind of hypocrite am I?
I'm not making an active claim about it. I'm just saying you're not those kinds. You're
Yeah,
not the
but what
useful
kind? Well, what kind am I then? I know what I'm not, but now I want to know what I am. So what kind am I, Bob?
Haven't given it thought. I don't really care.
So wait. So Andrew's a hypocrite. You gave a counter for how many times I'm engaging in hypocrisy, but you've never given it a thought as to what kind of hypocrite I am?
Yeah. I don't really care. Why is that crazy?
Bob, here's why it's crazy. Because the definition that you give for hypocrisy is incoherent. On its face is contradictory, which is what makes it incoherent. And I prove that because with the smoking, now you retracted this. You say, I'm retracting that. I'm just going to change it. That's not actually what hypocrisy is. And then you give colloquial examples, which give the same exact definition, by the way. It's you do thing, and then tell other people not to do the thing or criticize them for doing the thing. That's the same. It's the same shit, right? No, that's not what. Okay, then what does hypocrisy mean again?
Colloquially?
Sure.
Again, as I've said about the Michael Huemer case and how he explains the implicit rules that govern how we communicate, we can't When defining words and using necessary and sufficient conditions, we end up obfuscating more than we clarify. So when we speak colloquially, it's not helpful to specify necessary and sufficient conditions. The best way to colloquially communicate what we mean is via examples.
So what kind of
clear.
colloquial am I colloquially a hypocrite?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. How?
The 5 examples I gave in the video. We could go through them.
We just did.
So then why do you ask me?
We just went through a bunch.
So then why do you ask me how?
So I just want to make sure I got this right. From the colloquial perspective, I'm a hypocrite.
Certainly.
From the colloquial perspective, are you a liar?
Have I ever lied, or with respect to the editing of your video?
For the respect to the editing of my video.
Certainly not. No, not at all.
Would it be fair, like, if I said to a person, man, this changes the entire context of what I said, right? This person's lying. Do you think that colloquially people would be like, yeah, that's true?
Just repeat.
If I was like, oh, man, this guy edited out critical context of this video, which would change how people perceive me. He's a fucking liar. Do you think people around me would be like, yeah, that's pretty dishonest?
Yes.
Then colloquially, you're a liar, right?
No.
Okay, well, then colloquially, you're dishonest?
No.
Then why would people agree with me if I wasn't colloquially using it the proper way?
There are 2 questions here.
Just one question.
One is what I am, and the other is, given what you've said about me, what that would seem to make me colloquially.
Yeah.
With respect to the former, no, I'm not a liar, and if people had the full context and heard my rationalizations for my interpretation.
And then what about the latter?
And in the latter case, if you strip my rationalizations out of, you just leave them out.
Then you're dishonest.
What?
Then you are dishonest.
Oh, then someone will, given the colloquial understanding of how the word is used, they'd think so, but it doesn't make me something.
Got you. I mean, that's right. Just like colloquially, you may say I'm a hypocrite, but that doesn't make me one, right?
It would depend on my basis.
Well, what's your
claim.
basis? What is it?
I told you.
What?
You want?
Tell me again.
Here's a great example. I think this is probably the most clear-cut example I don't think you could escape.
Okay.
You were debating some weirdo when you told the guy, I don't want this debate to be megally mouth. Answer my fucking questions, then I'll answer yours. Okay. That's how a debate should work. That's what you said. Then very, very clearly, not only in the Danny Parker debate did you not answer questions, but in this debate as well. So you're a hypocrite.
What debate? What questions am I not answering?
In this debate?
Yeah. To give me a question, I'll answer it right now. Whatever it is that you think I haven't answered.
What does that matter?
Well, if you think I'm not answering questions, I'm willing to answer whatever questions that you have for me. What do you mean?
That's just got nothing to do. I said that. Are you not following?
No.
Okay, so I'll clarify. You're a hypocrite if you set a precedent for a standard, which you did. The standard is answer questions in a debate. So if in this debate or in the Danny Parker debate you didn't answer a question, that would make you a hypocrite. So we're to respond by saying, ask me a question now, that wouldn't determine whether you're a hypocrite in the past, which was my claim. That's very odd. That's a very odd response.
Oh, wait a second. Do you think that I'm intentionally avoiding answering your questions?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, how could I be a hypocrite if I'm not intentionally breaking whatever this arbitrary standard is you think I set?
Well, the definition and colloquial usage of hypocrite, it doesn't include you're being cognizant of your own hypocrisy. That's just not part of what it means to be a hypocrite. Well,
then how could I be espousing a belief and then violate it? If it's the case that I don't even know I'm violating the belief, how could I be a hypocrite?
You could be a hypocrite and not know it.
Okay, so got it. That makes sense to me. So let's back up then. Let's back up then. Now that I understand this. So if I say you answer my questions and I'll answer yours, right? And then I answer a bunch of your questions and you answer more of my questions and I answer yours. Does that make you a hypocrite?
What is it?
Like, well, how many questions need to get answered back and forth for it to not be hypocrisy? How many? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the threshold here is.
You answering my questions.
Yeah.
This is so confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too.
I see that. If I lie one time and then I say 15, 20, 100 truths, that doesn't undo my lie.
Yeah, that's fair, but I'm not disputing that. What I'm asking specifically,
yeah. If you're a hypocrite once by dodging questions, and then you, after that, in a straight manner, answer 10, 20, 100 questions, it doesn't undo your prior dodging of a question, and thereby it doesn't either undo your hypocrisy.
Okay, so hang on. If you engage in a hypocrisy, are you a hypocrite?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you a hypocrite?
With respect to?
Have you ever engaged in any hypocrisy?
Oh, certainly.
Okay, then you're a hypocrite too? So we're both just hypocrites?
Yeah.
So you're a hypocrite and I'm a hypocrite. Hey, Jake, are you a hypocrite? Chat, are you guys hypocrites? So we're all just fucking hypocrites. We're all just hypocrites.
So then
All right,
why did you go out of your way to say that you're not a hypocrite? That's your problem.
Well, so I don't have the same definitions here that you do of any of this shit. That's one. Not even in the colloquial sense. That's two. And then three, I don't think if you're a person who's ever engaged in hypocrisy, that makes you a hypocrite. I think that's generally active status, meaning like you're a person like Rob Reiner and you're out there and you're like, smoking is fucking terrible. And then you go behind the fucking, the banister and you start smoking, right? You're contradicting the espousal of the very belief structure in which you're after. So if that's the case, I think you that hypocrisy has some activity to it. Otherwise, it's like you're just saying that you're a liar and you're a hypocrite and you're all of these same things that you're saying that I am. If Andrew's ever engaged in hypocrisy, he's a hypocrite. If Bob's ever engaged in hypocrisy, he's a hypocrite. So we're both just hypocrites. If Andrew's ever lied, he's a liar. Bob said he's lied. Therefore, Bob's also a liar. So we're all just fucking liars and hypocrites then, Bob. So what is the meaningful impact of a video that you make about me being a hypocrite when you're a fucking hypocrite too? What? How is that even meaningful?
Here's how it's meaningful.
I can't wait to hear it.
Because while we're all imperfect and while we're all hypocritical and while we're all liars, I wasn't foolish enough to go out of my way and make a video as you did, where I specifically stated, I'm not a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. You did that. You made a response.
Yeah. And what did I say I think a hypocrite is? I think that you have to have an active status in order to be a hypocrite, right? Not having engaged, just like even colloquially, I would say that this is true. If I call someone a liar, that means they're currently engaging in lies, right? Or have recently engaged in lies, or have a very, very staunch pattern of engaging in lying. That's what that would mean if you said that guy's a liar. Okay. Not that guy has told lies in the past, because if that was the case, it would be fucking meaningless to call people liars. It would be meaningless, Bob.
You're shifting goalposts, though.
No, I'm not. I'm actually engaging directly with what you're saying about language here. So I have a completely different rationale in how I look at these things. I do not believe for a second that your idea of hypocrisy is what hypocrisy is. I don't use the same definition for it. I reject your definition, even colloquially. I don't even think it makes sense. I think it's contradictory. Also, on top of that, Bob, if we use this metric, then all of us are liars and all of us are hypocrites. There's no more bearing anymore. You're just saying you engage in more hypocrisy than I do at that point, or you engage in more lying than I do at that. It's fucking meaningless. That's not what people mean when they say liar. It's not what people mean when they say these types of things, not even colloquially. What do you think a person means when he says that guy's a liar? What do you think they mean?
So I want to take the bait here and answer, but I'm not going to.
It's not bait. It's not bait.
I made the claim that you were shifting goalposts.
We're
was
having a
trying to-
discussion around language right now in order to get clarification. That's not shifting goalposts. You're talking about how colloquially you mean a thing. I'm engaging directly with that by asking you if we can apply this standard to other things that people colloquially mean, like liar. When you say that guy's a liar, what do you mean by that? What does that mean?
The viewer could skip back and see how you're shifting goalposts. Here's how you're shifting goal. You may not realize it, and that's why you keep not letting me finish. But here's how you're shifting. Because you asked me, and the viewer could go back and see this. If everyone is a hypocrite, then how is it meaningful or significant to make a hit piece against someone where you allege that they're a hypocrite? If everyone's a hypocrite, that's trivial. And I answered that by saying, oh, it's not trivial in the case where someone would go out of their way to say they're not a hypocrite, as you did. Now, you respond to that by saying,
no. Oh, okay. Hang on. I got it. Actually, I got it. So here, in fact, Bob, I'll just make the concession. If the concession is that Andrew's ever engaged in hypocrisy, therefore he's a hypocrite, case closed. I concede that that's true. Anything else, Bob?
I don't think you're following.
Oh, okay. What am I missing?
You asked me, in the case where everyone's a hypocrite, then how is it meaningful? How is it not trivial to allege that someone is a hypocrite?
Sure.
And I responded, it's not trivial. In the specific case that's applicable to you, namely where you go out of your way to say that you're not a hypocrite. In that case, it's no longer trivial, because now
I just retracted that claim. If it's the case that all you mean by hypocrite is that at some point in Andrew Wilson's life he's engaged in hypocrisy, then I will go ahead and concede that by that definition I'm a hypocrite, and Bob's a hypocrite, and everybody's a hypocrite.
What I wanted you to concede was that it's not trivial, even if everyone is a hypocrite.
Well, wait a second. If it's the case that we utilize Bob's definition here, that everybody's a hypocrite, right? And when Andrew's saying he's not a hypocrite because we've established everybody is, makes it not trivial? Sure. If that's what you mean by that, sure. But you realize by conceding that you've won nothing. Literally nothing. No. All that we've established is that we're all fucking hypocrites. And when Andrew said that he wasn't a hypocrite, he didn't account for the fact that one time in fucking 1989, he engaged in hypocrisy. And it's like, okay, Bob, if that's all you mean by that, then sure, I'll make the concession right now. Is that all you mean by that, Bob?
It's not all I mean by that.
Oh.
I'd also make the claim that according to general usage, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, but by general usage, so are you.
Okay. Tu Quoc Way, who cares?
I mean, if that's the case, Bob, if you just agree with me that we're all we're just back to we're all hypocrites. Like,
no. When I say according to general usage, I mean not according to my standard where everyone's a hypocrite. Even according to like the typical standard, I think you're still a hypocrite.
Okay. How?
I'll just get a bit more clear on the general standard, and it's going to be a bit vague, but I think you'll agree nonetheless.
Of course it is, Bob. Why wouldn't it be?
Is that an attack? Is that an attack on me purposefully being vague? That seems like what it is.
Well, Bob, when you're not very clear with what it is that you mean, and you're being purposely vague because you're afraid that if you gave the what you actually mean by these words, you're actually terrified to do that. And I don't know exactly why. Well, actually, I do know why. Or at least I think.
Do I look like the kind of person that's scared to give a clear definition?
Then can you?
Do I look like the kind of person who's scared to give a clear definition?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here debating you in front of who knows how many people. You've had hundreds of debates. This is like my first ever public debate. I'm not intimidated. I'm not scared. Do I seem like the kind of person that's scared to give a definition or to clearly specify my view?
Yes, because you won't.
That doesn't follow.
You purposely go out of your way to use vague language, just like man, and you keep it very vague on purpose. And the reason for that, Bob, is because you're afraid that if you commit to it, I'm going to tear it apart. And you know what? That's a fair point, because I'm going to. So I would keep it vague, actually, because I will tear it apart. It's true, because it makes no sense. You're just going to get caught in contradiction after contradiction because it makes no sense. But go ahead, give me the vague, how I fit into this, and you don't, or everybody else doesn't. Just me, Andrew Wilson. You fit this. How do I fit it? Vaguely.
First, I'll answer that. I just think it's ridiculous that you're claiming that I'm scared to clearly define my position. If you read the book that I've shown and the first chapter where Michael Huemer goes through the problems with our language, you'll see exactly why I'm employing the strategy I do.
Well, I think you just don't want to commit to what you actually think a hypocrite is, because then I clearly wouldn't fall into the category of that thing. That's what I think.
Right. And you told me your rationale for thinking that was that I simply won't give a clear
No, it's
definition.
not because of that. I think your rationale for doing that is because when you actually do give us a very clear definition, I'm able to tear it apart in 5 seconds like I did the last definition that you gave. And clearly I don't fall under it. That's why I think you're being very vague.
Wait, I don't mind that you caught me in a contradiction. I think that was good.
Sure. Sure. Fair enough. I'm just saying that's what I think the motivation is for why you're about to be very vague about what you're about to say. Like, for instance, in this video, I don't think that you were trying to tell people like colloquially Andrew Wilson's a hypocrite. I think you were trying to be very firm in the language there. And I think you were really trying to convey something there. And I think you're really not trying to convey whatever that was here, which is really strange to me. That's all.
So because this isn't an attack on my character, I'm going to reply to this.
I'm not trying to attack your character. I'm trying to tell you that this is how I view it.
I didn't say we're trying to, but nonetheless, it is, in fact, an attack on my character. Because you're saying I'm purposefully being vague because I'm scared. So I want to refer you and the audience back to what happened 30 minutes ago, where you did catch me in a contradiction. And be honest right now, and you have the opportunity to lie and make me look bad, but be honest. Have most of the people that you debate, will the vast majority of them, when you catch them in a contradiction, just like openly and willingly concede to that? Or do they try to like weasel out and obfuscate? I think you need to give me credit.
If it's the case,
I didn't get
hang on. They don't. That's fair. They don't. Unless they're Phil Bros, then they do. Because there's no avoiding it. Like Phil Bros I don't know which Phil Bro group you're a part of, like which online one. I'm sure you're a part of one of them somewhere, some Discord of Phil Bros that you talk to all the time. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing, right? But those guys will tear you to pieces. Like they're gonna be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and so there's motivation there to just cop to it, right? Because Phil Bros just tear each other to pieces. That's what they do. I know. I'm one. I am a Phil Bro. I get it. You know, like I go into the Discords and get torn apart on all sorts of shit all the time. It's good for us, right? It's how we grow in philosophy. I'm just pointing out, like, hey, man. Yeah, you kind of have to cop to it as Phil because that's what they do. They just tear each other to pieces, right? Am I wrong about that?
You're definitely wrong that because someone's a Phil Bro, that therefore they're going to be more likely to be intellectually honest or concede to a mistake. That's completely not true.
Well, we're just talking about experience here. You can't even say that that's completely not true. How many online debates have you had? You just said none.
I don't need to have debates to make that qualification. I've watched hundreds of debates, maybe thousands.
I'll tell you what, if that's the case, right? You say you watched hundreds and hundreds of Phil Bro debates, and you don't think that Phil Bros are more likely to concede to contradiction than other people? Really?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, my experience is the opposite. That Phil Bros, generally speaking, actually will concede to contradictions because their community tends to tear them apart if they don't. That's just my experience.
Okay.
Now, I can't, of course, we're just talking about experiences here, but that's been my experience.
Right.
Should we read some super chats soon, boys?
Sure.
Yeah.
But from the fact that Phil Bros are more quick to concede a contradiction, which I don't grant, but if we grant that, that's not mutually exclusive with the reason for them doing that being to some, not entirely, but
well, sure. Logically, no, but experientially, yes. I'm not telling you that like logically there's this follows from some syllogism. I'm
I
just telling you
didn't say you didn't.
based on my experience. This is anecdotal, of course, but you asked me something anecdotal. Do you think X? Do I think X based on what experience, right? So I'm just telling you from my experience. Concession, no, but also clarification for one particular group, yes.
Right. I'm not disputing that at this point. I'm saying even if I grant that,
Yeah.
that's perfectly consistent. That's compatible with the explanation for why Philbro's doing that, being that they're not cowardly people and they tend to be more intellectually honest.
No, actually, it would be that they were cowardly people because they're terrified of getting torn apart by their community, right? That's why they're doing it. They're afraid they're going that thing going to happen they don't like. So that would be in line with maybe not cowardice necessarily, but consequences. There'd be powerful motivation there, kind of in line with that. So yeah, I'm not really sure there. But what I will say is this: is like you made a whole hit piece video about me being a total fucking hypocrite, and then when we actually get to the debate portion here, the entirety of it was just you being very, very vague about what you even meant by that on purpose, which is strange because, and here's why I know it's on purpose, is because when you actually did commit to something, it was contradictory. That's why I think it's on purpose. That's what I'm saying. I'll just add that as my closing statement. You can make your whole close, bro. And then he can get super chats. We can end the debate.
Go for it, Bob.
I mean, it's not. You just said that you think the reason I'm being vague is because when I wasn't vague, you caught me in a contradiction. But like 2 minutes ago, you said I'm being vague because I'm scared.
Yeah, you're scared that if you commit, I'll catch you another contradiction. That's yeah, correct.
And
some super chats, maybe.
Or Bob can give us closing.
Yeah,
I'll just be quiet while you close, Bob.
Okay.
the data here that I'm not committing to a clear definition is predicted by me being scared, but also by me having an understanding of language where I don't think language can be reduced to necessary and sufficient criteria, right? So why are you, given that what I'm doing is predicted
hang on,
by,
these are questions. Do you want to do your closing or?
I'll do my closing, but before that, I actually want to just negate your claim that I'm being vague by just being straightforward about what I mean by a hypocrite here, instead of arguing about why you think I'm doing.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to shut up for a while again.
Just for a second.
I've already eaten my pasta, but okay.
So earlier I said we have two horns here. Either we go with the colloquial sense of hypocrite. Under that definition, you're a hypocrite. Or we go with the definition. Pick the one you want to go with, and I'll specify what we mean, and then I'll show you're being a hypocrite according to that account.
Okay, the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the first definition that Jake pulled up. Can you do that real quick, Jake? We're almost done.
That definition is like feigning. I recall that it's feigning to be something you're not, or stating to have some certain beliefs.
Not quite. And I want to be really clear here to make sure that you actually commit to it. Yeah, right? Because for you, the linguistics of the thing and the semantics are very important. They're very important to me too. So let's just make sure that we're very clear here, right? We're not going to do this off of memory. I'm not going to commit to it off memory. You're not going to commit to it off memory. A feigning to be what one is not, or to believe what one does not. Behavior that contradicts what one claims to believe or feel. That's my definition of hypocrisy. Can you demonstrate how I'm that?
Sure.
Okay.
You profess to be somebody that doesn't dodge questions. You dodge questions. So you're a hypocrite according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary account of what it means to be a hypocrite.
Have I professed to believe that one should never dodge questions.
Not in those exact words, but effect.
Then-
Okay, yeah, no.
okay. So then what's the hypocrisy?
The hypocrisy isn't that you said someone should never dodge questions. The hypocrisy is that you said in a debate, the way a debate should operate is that one should not dodge questions. So if you go ahead and frequently
Show me the
dodge
quote.
Huh?
Show me the quote.
The quote, you want like me to pull up the exact quote?
Mm-hmm. This is you demonstrating I'm the thing, remember?
I could tell you where it is, where you said this.
Where did I say it?
You said this in a... So I include this clip of you saying this in my video. Where did I include it? In the hypocrisy section.
Yeah, which hypocrisy do you remember?
It was definitely not the first. The first one was mean and or an unkind person. The second was bringing people's family into it. Oh, we could go with that. We could go with that.
Okay.
You said you're better than someone that brings people's family into it, into a debate.
Nope, never did.
You never said that?
Nope. I asked a question.
You told whoever that person was,
Chuck.
Chuck. You told Chuck, did I bring your family into this conversation?
And then I asked, is that because I'm better than you?
No, you didn't ask. You then asserted,
I'll bet
it's
you
because I'm better than you.
Bet you $100 I asked it. Is that because I'm better than you? You want to make that bet? Well, we can't bet. It's YouTube. I'm sorry. I'll send a super chat of $100 to your channel.
So I misheard you. You asked, you didn't assert it's because I'm better than you?
No, I asked. I said, is that because I'm better than you, Chuck?
But that, okay, if you had asked that, are you denying that that was clearly rhetorical and what you meant to imply was that you in fact are better than someone that would do that?
Well, no, I'm asking from her worldview.
What?
I'm asking from her worldview. Does she consider people who attack other people's families when they have not had their family attacked, that other person's better than them? That's what it's for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to the answer questions and debate. I'll concede
But
that.
hang on. Let us assume for a moment, I'm just going to be real charitable here, that I'm misremembering this. It's possible, right? That was a long 6-hour debate. I may not remember every aspect of it, or maybe both happened. Maybe I asked, is that the case? And then maybe I affirmed that it is.
I think that's
right?
actually what happened from memory.
But even if that's the case, let's just assume it for a second. How would that make me a hypocrite?
Right, because you said I'm better than somebody that brings other people family into a debate, and then you go ahead and do that.
No. In this debate.
That's not the claim.
Well, wait a second. That was the claim.
In order for the claim that you're better than somebody because you don't do an action, it can't be the case that it's only with respect to that debate, because then it just wouldn't follow.
But no, actually, it would follow the best, and here's why. You see, the thing is that I have a golden rule, right? I tend not to ever attack a person's family unless they attack mine. I tend not to ever bring a person, and by the way, even when they do, I usually still don't. In fact, I can't even think of a time where I have. Instead, what actually happens is we'll be on a topic and people will bring their family up and we'll be in the dynamic of whatever that topic of discussion is. But to my knowledge, I've never actually purposely, unless it's an internet commentator who's a public figure, brought anybody's family into anything. Ever. I don't think it's ever happened. In fact, like even when that stuff was going on with Destiny and everybody was attacking his kid and shit like that, I was like, that's off limits. I'm not talking about it. Not discussing it.
What about in the video where I show you telling somebody your wife gets fucked by everything in town or something to that effect? You said that to some brand.
You mean the chick who was sitting right next to him?
That was his wife?
Mm-hmm.
That's still bringing his family into it.
No, I was arguing with both of them. I was arguing directly with those people.
But
do you see the distinction? Do you see the distinction there?
I see the distinction, but I don't see how it alleviates you from bringing his family into it, because you were talking to him when you made that attack.
Okay, so let me get this right. Right. When I say I don't go after people's families. Okay. If I'm debating with two brothers and I am debating with both of them at the same time, are you saying that that would be going after each other's family members?
It depends what you said. If you were, when addressing one of the brothers,
yeah,
let's say brother A, and when you're addressing brother A, you say, your family's pathetic, as your brother B, who's sitting right there as well, is an absolute loser. That's bringing his family into it. Now, if you call B a loser,
you're directly, hang on. They're on a team debating with you, on a team. You say your partner there just said this fucking stupid ass shit, or he just did XYZ. You think that that's the same thing as trying to attack people's families?
What difference does it make if they're there or not?
Okay. First of all, let's start with this. Okay. What that guy was saying in that clip was that it's good that his wife bangs many, many men on camera because it makes him a lot of money.
Okay.
Okay. That was his claim. And she agreed and affirmed the claim. Both of them have now affirmed the claim. Okay. When this guy starts insulting me, which he did, because I pointed out that is cuckoldry, because it is actual cuckoldry. I pointed out then, hey, you can't say this when your wife's getting fucking basically plowed by everybody under the sun. And I'm making the comment to her and him at the same time, debating with both of these people. I'm not like fucking going after, Bevo's dad and his cousins. And these are people I'm debating directly with, dude.
First of all, I've seen you go after people's dads.
Whose?
In the video.
No, I never did. Never went after any. Go ahead. I'll tell you what. Go ahead and finish. Whose dad did I go after?
I don't know the person, but I show in the video, a super chat reads, your dads are morally weak men because blah, blah, blah. And you go, yeah, your dads are morally weak men.
And what was the context for that?
Doesn't matter. You just claimed that you don't bring people's dads into it.
Wait a second.
Show the context where you did.
They brought their dads into it. Not
Super
me.
No,
they did. You didn't see the previous part of the conversation. They were all talking about what thing? Their dads. And then they explained what their dads had done, right? And then I agreed with the super chatter's commentary after they brought their family members up with what the commentary said. That's not attacking anybody. They were attacking their dads. they were attacking their fathers.
Okay, this is not a good argument. I'll grant they brought their family into it, but that's not the same as insulting their family. Right.
They were insulting their family.
Okay. There was when you told the people in that room, your dads are morally weak men. One of the women responded, "Fuck you." Right.
I don't remember that.
Well, it happened. I showed it in the clip. She responded,
okay.
"Fuck you."
Well, okay, but is it possible though that when I said they are morally weak men, right, that I wasn't directing it to everybody at the table? I was directing it probably to the people I was conversing with who were telling me about the stories of their fathers and the horrible things that had gone on between those dynamics. Is that possible? In fact, even likely? Is it even likely? Like, have you ever seen me, for instance, just be like, your dad's a fuck, just out of the blue? No, of course not. It's ridiculous. But in the course of a conversation, it may come up where people begin discussing their own family. Now, look, it's possible. It's possible that I've brought up people's family members before. Like, I'm not going to say it's not. It's completely reasonable to say at some point that may happen in context, right? But I really tend not to fucking attack people's family members. I really don't.
Okay. Two things. First of all, we're shifting the claim. It went from I don't attack people's family members and I've never brought up someone's dad. When have I ever done that? I think that's the words that you said. When have I ever brought up someone's dad? Then I give an example. And now it seems to, I tend not to do that. So that's a shift.
Well, wait a second.
Wait.
What is the definition?
Here's the second point.
It's me espousing a belief, right? And then going against the belief. So I'm adhering to this principle, and I've always adhered to this principle. You're just saying if there's ever a violation of the principle, then that's hypocrisy. And again, I disagree with that. I think that that's silly. It's like, even in the context of this, I think it's silly. It's like, if you bring up your parents and like horrible things that are going on there and this and that, right? And then I make the astute observation of this, I don't think that violates the principle for not doing that at all.
You decided to go with the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Yeah. I agree.
On the dictionary's account, which was feigning to be, well, let me pull it up exactly.
Okay.
Feigning, acting, or professing something one isn't. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not professing something that I'm not.
You profess to be somebody that doesn't bring people's family members into a debate. You did profess.
Oh my God. It's such a weak criticism, dude. You know what? Just for the sake of this, okay, let's just say, okay, there has been occasions where I have probably done this. So there's been some occasion somewhere where I have engaged, and this is hypocrisy. Is that it? Is that the totality of the criticism here? Really?
Before I answer that, there were some other things I wanted to say that I was cut off and didn't get the opportunity to say.
Okay.
So, like 2 minutes ago, I said there were 2 points I wanted to make. Made the first one that you're shifting from, I don't bring people's dads into a debate. Then you shifted to, well, I tend not to. Okay. Second thing I wanted to say. When you caught me in a contradiction, I conceded. But now I've caught you in a contradiction, and I want to see if you're equally as intellectually honest.
I don't see a contradiction yet.
I'll tell you.
I am willing to concede to a contradiction. I just don't see one yet.
So here was the contradiction. You said I don't. When have I ever? In other words, I don't bring people's dads into a debate.
I didn't bring their dads into it. They did. So what's the contradiction?
I don't think that's not how it works.
Well, that's what you just said.
No, your understanding of what it means to bring someone's family into it is that's it. Okay, I'll give you an analogy. If I criticize myself and go, you know what? I'm short, like I'm a short person. And you respond, yeah, you pathetic midget. Just because I personally attacked myself doesn't mean now it's okay for you to attack me, and neither does it mean that you don't attack me merely because I attacked myself.
That's nice, but that's not a case for hypocrisy, Bob.
Wait. But so too in the case of someone's family members. Just because I talk about my family members doesn't mean that if you now go and criticize my family members, that because I brought it up, that now therefore you're somehow barred from bringing someone's family into a debate. That's not how it works. Independent of
Bob, the claim is that I'm not bringing up people's family members. They do.
No,
that's the
claim. The claim was that you didn't bring them into a debate.
I didn't. They did.
If someone brings their family members into a debate,
that's not me bringing them into the debate, right, Bob?
If you say nothing. But if you then go and attack...
No, it doesn't matter if I say something. Who brought them into the debate?
Them and you.
No, just
once
them.
You make the attack.
No, just them, Bob. Just them. They brought it in.
Until you make an attack.
No, Bob. No. If you demand that I know critical information about your family member, like, oh, my family member, he raped a woman, and I say, oh God, he's a rapist, right? That is not me bringing your family member into a debate. That's you fucking doing it, Bob, not me. So I don't see.
Well, with
I
that,
don't see the
fellas, I think
contradiction. I
it's-
don't see it, Bob. I'm willing.
I think
to
it's
concede a
probably
contradiction.
time to get to some super chats, fellas. Have enjoyed the back and forth, but there's never a good time for this sort of stuff. It's a riveting debate. But
Yeah, you
I
seem
said-
really thrilled. Okay, go ahead.
All right. DPG thing came in with a big 100 saying, Bob, I think you may have got me. Clip it. Cheers. Moderator, aka Himbo Jake. Come on now. That's what I get called around here, Bob. That's what I got to deal with. Can you believe it?
I have no idea what the hell that guy just said, but okay.
Yeah, I'm not very good at reading. FDN says, W Bob, that was a fantastic highlight reel at the start there. That was a great highlight reel, to be fair.
It was. I do appreciate that, Bob. It was really funny.
Red Fox
almost
said,
all of those things were really funny, but in context, I was basically justified in everything I said in those clips. I just want to point that out.
I completely disagree with that.
Did you even watch them?
A decent amount of them. Like in
Then
particular.
how come you told me in X you agree with me in most of those clips?
What did I say? What did I say in X?
I said I actually agree with a lot of what you said in those clips via DMs. I believe that's what you said.
I'd have to see context.
No,
but there's me agreeing with what you said, and then there's whether or not you were being mean, which was the claim, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I've never disputed that I can be mean. In fact, that's the biggest meme, right? Is like the biggest criticism of me is that I'm mean.
Right, but if you make the claim, if in conjunction with you saying that you're mean, you also say that I'm very much a very kind man, which is what you said, then you're just a hypocrite.
No, you're just not a hypocrite. I am a very kind man, and there are times where I'm mean. There's no hypocrisy there. It is, in fact, the case that you can be a very kind man and at times be mean.
Oh, sure. But if you're mean enough and
mean enough
a sufficient degree, if you're mean,
and what degree
enough,
is that? What degree is that? What degree are we looking at here, Bob?
Oh,
90
I don't know.
degrees?
Maybe when you like make people cry in a debate in front of like thousands of people, and then when they cry, you openly mock the fact that that's like on tending toward like straight sadism. Why the hell would you do that?
Do you know what that woman did?
Yes, nothing wrong.
Tell me what she did, Bob.
She was in a relationship with a man who consented to some sort of like humiliation ritual. She engaged in that. Nothing wrong.
Did you didn't catch the part where she said he was mentally ill, did you, Bob?
I actually listened closely. And I have two objections to this mentally ill thing.
No. She said he was mentally ill. And by the way, you got to watch the whole episode, Bob. They're long episodes.
I analyzed this carefully. She said, I suspect...
Did you watch the whole episode?
I watched enough to dispute this claim you're making.
How much of that is enough? How much of it?
Enough that I could cite relevant facts.
How much is that?
Enough that I could cite...
How much is that?
What question? You want to know the amount of minutes I watched?
Yes, because I don't believe
that
that if you watch 3 minutes of it, that's enough, Bob.
It wasn't
5
3
minutes. How much? How many minutes?
Minimally 13.
You watched 13 minutes.
Minimally. I didn't say 13. Minimally.
And how long was the episode, Bob?
Why don't you just debate what happened as opposed to trying to appeal to the...
Can you just answer my question, Bob? It's totally relevant. How long was the episode?
I'm going to assume 2 hours.
Bob, are you ready for this? That episode, I believe, was over 7 hours.
Okay.
I think it was, but it was at least 6. But I believe it was over 7. Now, Bob, do you think that you got enough context in the course of 7 fucking hours of conversation in 13 minutes to make a determination this woman never said this guy was mentally ill?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Here's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
She said, yeah, he's probably mentally ill. Like, I suspect that. Then later, you nailed her down for abusing a mentally ill person. And then she was like, hold on, wait a second. I don't know he's mentally ill. He was never diagnosed. We don't know what mental illness, if he has one at all. He has. You're assuming she told you, did she not? You're assuming he's mentally ill. Did she not say that?
And then she told me he was.
She said she suspected that. She never said he was diagnosed. He
She
wasn't.
suspected it. I suspect he was. So from her view, she was abusing a mentally ill person?
No.
That she was
Not
abusing someone she suspected was mentally ill, Bob?
No.
No. Okay.
Here's why. Just because someone is mentally ill, which we don't even know that he was, doesn't mean they can't consent.
Oh.
Do you not agree?
Do you think that it's normal behavior for a man to consent to be a coat rack, be laughed at, have a 13-year-old to use him as a footstool while they laugh and mock him, and then the person says, I suspect he's mentally ill? You can't put two and two together there, Bob?
What am I supposed to be putting together?
That there's probably a good chance that if she suspects he's mentally ill and is engaging in horrific abuse of this person, right, which I would consider like if there was a person who was mentally ill and then I was able to convince them to act as a coat rack, and I was able to convince them to get on all fours and and bark, and I was able to convince them that they were my pet, and I was able to treat them like that, and then I had my children engage in the treatment of that person that way, don't you think that there's enough for me to go on there for me to be like, what you're doing there is pretty fucked up?
Fucked up and abuse are two different things, but there's 3 points I want to make, and I want to make them uninterrupted, because usually when I have a bunch of points to make, I get interrupted.
Can you make them really quick, though, because we're in the super chat segment?
Okay, yeah. The first is that you just built into this whole narrative that she convinced him of these things, when it was very clear from the clip that this man was interested in them, and there was no need for convincing on her end. He's a creep. He had the interest in doing these things, so it wasn't like she was like manipulating us. Fine. Second, I dispute that the abuse was horrific. I don't see how any of that was horrific. Using someone as a coat rack is not horrific. Making someone or letting someone sleep on the floor or in a dog thing is not horrific. I've slept on the floor at my friend's house for like a period of 6 months. Did they abuse me when they allowed me to do that? Third, mental illness doesn't mean inability to consent. First of all, we don't even know he's mentally ill. But even if we did, you'd have to establish that it's the kind of mental illness such that he can no longer consent. But I looked up like the 10 most common mental illnesses, and the majority of them didn't seem like the kinds of things that would bar someone from consent. Like anorexia is like a severe mental illness. Can someone with anorexia not consent to like a bunch of... Of course they can. Depression. Can someone with depression not consent to... Of course they can. So...
Oh, no. In like extreme case of anorexia, they can't. For instance, they would need a consent to treatment, right? But they don't. They get forced to do treatment, can't they? So we take their ability to have consent away, don't we?
Yeah. Well, the whole point I was making was not that if someone's mentally ill, we always need their consent. The point, rather, was that just because someone's mentally ill doesn't automatically, or even probabilistically, we can't infer from that, oh, consent is gone now. We can't do that.
There's no violation of my worldview in any way, shape, or form for me to base what this woman was saying to me, considering that to be abuse, and then hitting her real hard for it. There's not only no hypocrisy there, right? But I can be completely fucking justified. Now, you may argue with the justifications, which is exactly what you're doing. There's no fucking possible way you can put that in the categorization of hypocrisy, because it's not.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Whether you realize you're being a hypocrite or not, the critique is going to go through.
That's not hypocrisy, Bob.
Yes, it is.
How?
Because if you say you're very much a very kind man, and then you frequently engage in very unkind behavior to the extent that you're willing to make somebody cry, and then double down and mock the fact that they're crying, well, that's going to bar you from being kind. So then you're
really, it will, huh? So if you're mean sometimes to people who you feel justified, hang on. If you're mean sometimes to people you feel are just am I mean all the time, Bob?
No, but
okay. So then, if you're mean sometimes to people, Bob,
no, that's a straw man.
Okay, Bob, let me just ask you this: Did I feel justified in doing that?
Sure, probably.
Did I feel like it was in any violation of any value set that I have, that I espouse?
Like all psychopaths and narcissists are going to say the same thing. Like most.
Can you answer my question? Did I feel or espouse anything that violated? When I say that I'm a kind man, because I am, right? That when I attacked this woman for what I considered horrific abuse, how would that negate my kindness or me believing that I was a kind man, Bob? How?
Because independent of how righteous you think you are, there's still a standard we use to judge if someone's nice or not. Ted Bundy could think that he's doing the world a favor when he goes out and kidnaps and kills people. He could think he's righteous. That's irrelevant. What matters is what he's actually doing to the people with his actions. So you sort of revel in the fact that you could get people to like have emotional breakdowns and cry. That's extremely unkind. And I think that's inconsistent, and therefore you're being a hypocrite if you say you're very much a very kind man, as you said.
So, Bob, you have a big problem here, a big hole in your logic. Help me out here. When I espouse and I'm a kind man, what do you think I mean by that?
What ordinary people mean when they say that they're kind. Like they care about people's emotions. They're not going to revel in destroying people.
No, I don't think that kindness has too much with caring about people's emotions. Sometimes maybe, but no, I don't think so. I don't think that that's kindness. For instance, I think correction is kindness. I think that telling people the truth is often kindness. I think that those things can be very kind. When we're talking about kindness in this context, right, I thought that the kindest thing I could do was put on display that this was horrific behavior and it needed to stop. And while I understand that this woman cried, you negate the fact, because you didn't watch the episode, that she could turn the tears on and off like that. Didn't care. Like she could turn them on and turn them off in seconds. And you could go watch it yourself. Okay? I thought that I was doing a kindness actually by saying, good, cry. You should actually feel some fucking remorse for what it is that you're doing. That would not be a violation of any espoused values of mine, Bob. It may be a violation of some espoused values of yours, but in order for me to be a hypocrite, I would need to be going against beliefs that I espouse.
All right, we're going to move on, guys. Red Fox came in and said, don't need to read, but love how AW wrecks these dudes. Lieutenant T came in and said, for 20, just a salute. Thank you, Lieutenant. Over on the R side, Flavius said, define red herring in one sentence. Andrew first, then Bob. Andrew, what is a red herring? Bob, what is a red herring? Andrew, you go first, and then Rob, and then Bob.
Okay.
One sentence?
Yeah.
How do I phrase this in one sentence? Utilizing an obfuscation in order to get the person to engage in the obfuscation.
Bob?
Distraction from point of relevance.
Okay.
I think
can I respond to what
we're kind of basically saying the same thing.
Nah, we're moving on.
Okay.
Letty23 says, Oxford and Merriam Dictionary used across the world and is respected as the dictionary to use. The Urban Dictionary wiki of slang to learn what a rusty trombone is. Letty23 also said, if a sloot brings her dad to a party, then I talk to her dad. I must have brought the dad to the party.
A fucking idiot.
Just Gerald says, for a cheap bottle of wine to dull the idiot-induced migraine. And Nick says, Jake, call him out. He's lying. Her actual question was, are you saying you've never treated a woman like shit? Andrew answered her question, no, as in, I am not saying that. Well, it's not my job to call.
Wait a second. Hang on. Let me check the clip here. Because now I just want to make sure. Because that is an actually very good point.
I've got it here if we want it. I've got the clip right here.
Yeah. Let's see it real quick.
It's like I'm gonna be double sharing my own stream here though, so.
No.
Now, cred.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
No.
Ah,
saying- yeah.
are you saying you've never treated a girl like shit before? No. You fucking sneaky fucker. He's sneaky.
Wait,
fucker.
go back and play that again. Play that again.
All right.
Wilson is a hypocrite.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
No.
So you never treated a woman like...
Yeah,
like
that's
shit?
what she's saying. She's saying, are you saying you've never treated a girl like shit before?
I didn't hear... Are you... I heard so you're saying, right?
We'll play it again. Let's make
So
sure.
you never treated a woman like... That's...
Hypocrite.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
Never treated...
Well, hang on.
No.
The problem here, let me check the clip on my end because that clip is cut off. So let me just make sure.
I'm
just
just
gonna-
wait. You just call me a sneaky fuck, and now it's like, wait, no, I was not being a sneaky fuck.
Maybe not. And I may have to retract that in a second. But
Good.
but I'm just going to make sure that you weren't being a sneaky fuck by looking at the clip in its entirety. Hang on. Just want to make sure.
Even if wait, you
I just
realize-
want hang on, man. I just want to make sure that you weren't you didn't cut this off. Yeah, it does sound like you're saying so you never treated a
Right.
girl like shit.
What's the
before.
I'm
difference
not
between
being-
are you saying and
There's
so you
not
never?
much difference there, actually. Well, there's no real difference. It is basically saying the same thing.
No. Look, I
Yeah, are you
captured-
saying and so you're saying is just, yeah, that's exactly the same thing, actually.
No,
Now that
she
I'm
didn't-
thinking about it.
Okay. First of all, when I quoted you, I didn't get the quote wrong. So I wasn't this guy saying I'm lying when I'm quoting you. That's just false. I got the quote correct. That's the first thing. Second thing, there's a big difference between somebody asking, are you saying X versus what she did, which is, so you've never done X.
No, that's not what she said though. She said so she said so you're saying.
I didn't hear the word saying. Play that back. Play that back.
Yeah, play it back. Andrew Wilson is a hypocrite.
So you never treated a girl like shit before?
Okay, so you've never treated. You're right. Okay, that's fair. I'll make the concession there. You're right.
Okay.
Okay. Crazy says Bob doesn't have a good interpersonal skills. Bob doesn't believe in context. Bob is slow. Don't be like Bob. Bob, have you got a response for Crazy there?
Yeah, there's no criticism there. I don't see what he's pointing to that I did that was like slow or incorrect or some like fallacy. It's just an ad hom.
Fair enough. Geoverse says, how does one apply for a debate? That was for you, Andrew. How does one apply for a debate with you? Slide into my DMs if you want.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, look, it's not an open invitation. I don't take all comers, okay? I don't even have fucking time if I wanted to. Occasionally, something will pique my interest where it's so fucking egregious and the person's willing to stand by it that I almost can't help but bring them on for a good verbal drubbing because they fucking deserve it for misrepresenting me so badly. It's not that every point this kid makes is bad. It's not that every point he makes is bad. It's that most of the fucking points he makes are bad, at least in the video. And I don't think he gave a good defense of them.
Amelia
Well,
sent 28.
If that's true, if I didn't give a good defense of the things I said, a decent amount of why that's the case is because I couldn't. You kept interrupting me.
Look, man, I don't know how you think debates work, right? But interruption is a commonplace thing, especially when somebody speaks very slowly and they utilize a lot of times when they hit you with lots of claims. Okay? It's very common to do. It's not a thing which I'm trying to like obfuscate and take all your time away. I gave you a huge block of like 5 minutes to just go uninterrupted, didn't say a fucking word. So it's like, I do want to actually get through the claims, you know, like I do.
Thank you, Amelia, for the 28. Much appreciated.
I'm not saying you're intentionally trying to take away my time, but I did prepare what would take roughly like 10 minutes to get through, and I did give you 10 minutes uninterrupted, and I didn't get to do that. So I don't know what, I'm probably just going to make a video after this where I'm like, I didn't get to lay out my defense of my position. So despite the fact that I debated you and we were attempting to debate whether I have a good defense of my position, and I couldn't do it. Now I'm just gonna have to resort to making a video, which is kind of.
We look forward to seeing the video.
I mean, come on, Bob. That was
Rachel,
always the intention. You were always going to make a video after this, no matter what, because the whole purpose here in debating me ultimately was because you were hoping to peel off some of that old audience to go over and watch your fucking videos, Bob. Like, that's the whole point.
Rachel says, it seems clear to me that Bob's underlying issue is intense envy and jealousy of Andrew. This is so often the case with his haters. Bob thinks it should be him up there, not Andrew, hence the revenge. Is that true, Bob?
No, I don't know why she that's just an assertion about my motivations. Where's the justification? I'm not.
Why did you want to get revenge again?
Right, but that's not. Pull up what she just said. She said.
I'm asking you a different question. Why did you want to get revenge? Why? Because I was angry at the logical errors you made. That made me angry. Oh.
I'm not jealous. Where'd that come from?
Anthony, I mean, like a DM could have sufficed instead of like a long hit piece video. Seemed like you almost made the long hit piece video because you wanted to get my attention, right? Even though you could just DM me. I'm very responsive in DMs, as you know, Bob.
No, I didn't make the hit piece because I wanted your attention. Although I don't mind that.
Then why'd you tag me for it?
Look, you're conflating two things. You're conflating wanting your attention with the purpose for the hit piece being to get your attention. Two different things. I didn't make the hit piece to get your attention. I made it to vent my frustration and anger, which I've stated multiple times. And independent of that, yeah, I don't mind getting your, what's the confusion?
Well, it wasn't independent of that. I mean, how fast after you made the video did you tag me?
I don't.
Because I can track from the publishing day. What's that, same day, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, same day. But there was no motivation in making the video to get my attention, right, Bob?
I told you my motivation.
Was that you want to revenge because you were angry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not now, to get your attention.
But Bob, I just want to let you know, you have one of two choices you make from here. You really do. And you're going to make the wrong one because everybody does, right? You can either you can walk away, right? No harm, no foul, and have good interactions with me in the future. You really can, right? You can get rid of the revenge, all that, right? You don't have to become a seething hater for the rest of your life and focus your fucking entire life on the politics, personal destruction of Andrew Will. You can actually do that. Or you can become a fucking seething hater for the rest of your life and become one of these takedown creators and be very upset with me forever. Basically, that's the two ways that people go. So I'm just telling you, you can actually go the way of you don't have to try to do a tit for tat, this and that. You can still do engagements. Like I'd even debate other topics with you in the future, various things like this. But Bob, for some reason, I got a feeling you're going to go the other way.
Not at all. In fact, the more I interact with you, the more I think that the more I interact with you, the more I see that you actually have very good character. Like, I think I told you that I changed my initial antagonism toward you. And I think that the fact that you're debating me is awesome and that you have far more integrity than I initially gave you credit for.
Yeah, I don't know why people hate me so much, Bob. See, I'm a kind guy.
I know why.
I'm a kind man.
You're a prick.
I want to give you credit. I'm shocked at how you conducted this debate. For the most part, I thought you were good faith, and I'm shocked by that as well. I give you credit.
You mean in this debate I was good faith?
For the most part, yeah.
You realize, Bob, that as long as people aren't spurging out and losing their fucking minds on me about crazy shit and doing all sorts of things they're not supposed to be doing, my preference is to just straight debate the fucking issues in the best way possible and follow the lines of logic in order to make truth determination. That's what makes me really fucking good at what I do. I don't know where this idea came from. I think the idea comes from like my haters just clip farming everything to fucking death, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't know.
Anthony said that Bob's got a Charlie Chaplin haircut. How could anyone take him seriously? But I actually reckon that sort of thing is coming back in. Is that an intentional thing, Bob, the haircut?
Well, I'd completely neglect my appearance. I don't care about I care about good arguments. So I'm just not interested.
Not into looks maxing?
Seems
to be all the craze these days with the kids.
I don't believe in good luck. I don't believe in good looks. I believe in good arguments. I don't care about that.
Okay, well, that's good. Bruff Perkins sent 50, but the comment
Don't
was
take a
family-
hammer and start bashing your cheekbones.
Yes, don't
dude.
do
Don't
that.
do that shit. Don't do that.
Don't do
shit.
any steroids or
It's bad-
drugs
it's
or
a bad
heart
idea.
failure juice either.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
Bruff said 50. I appreciate the Canadian 50, but the comment was a bit family oriented, so we're not going to read it. But do appreciate the 50. Camaro said, had to come over to show support from the Crucible. Good on ya. Thank you very much.
Don't be
Appreciate
giving
that.
this fucking Australian my money.
Hey, no, don't you normally say everyone give him money? What's going on here? Far out.
What a stupid super chat that is.
Actually, it was very kind of Jake. At the last minute, I contacted him to do the moderation. I think he was a fair moderator, by the way. I don't think he did anything untoward. And I really do appreciate you coming in like 2 hours notice. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Bob's whole beginning argument was that he's too stupid,
that wasn't my
emotional,
argument.
and lazy to check his work, and proceeded to demonstrate he is all of those things throughout the debate. Bob, what would you say to that?
It wasn't my argument. And this guy didn't track. The argument was that from Andrew's perspective, these are live options. I'm not claiming that these things are true of myself. That's ridiculous. I'm saying from Andrew's perspective, they're live options. So long as they're live options, that's going to be in tension with its claim that I'm lying. So this guy didn't track. And he thinks I've demonstrated those things throughout the debate. I want to get Andrew's opinion here. He may just take this opportunity to dunk on me. But I just asked straightforward. Like, Andrew, do you think that I'm a stupid person?
No.
There you go. So no, I haven't demonstrated that. Even Andrew would concede to that.
But I do think that this was a malicious thing that you did. So
the
while
initial
I'm-
hit piece.
Yeah. So while I'm willing to concede that I don't think you're stupid, I do think it was malicious, and I wouldn't have done it to you. Just saying.
Okay, there's malicious and then there's lying. I didn't lie.
Well, I believe that you did a live omission, and I think that I did demonstrate that fairly well. But like again, when you're scribing, like it's impossible for you to ever pull out 100% unless I like caught you in the fucking act. I don't know how I would ever demonstrate 100% that you're lying about something, even by omission, except by sending the evidence and then the motivation, and then letting people decide that on their own. But I have every reason to believe that.
Right. So I'm not asking for 100% proof at all. I'm just I wanted you to, what I couldn't get through in my opening, which I want to get through, is that there's data, which is that I edited the clip, and that roughly I could come up with like 15 plausible explanations for why I edited the clip. Now, you're selecting one of those 15 hypotheses. And saying,
Because I
"Oh,
think
this
it's the
one's
most likely.
Right. So if you're going to do that, I want some reason that like discriminatively motivates that hypothesis and not any of
Revenge.
the others. That's really
Revenge.
it.
Revenge.
So that's not going to do it.
Well, it's not going to do it for you, but I think for most rational people, when you decide that you're going to maliciously get revenge on somebody because it made you angry, that's really good reason to question their motivation when they're doing selective editing, especially when we can show context cues, which demonstrate that with those context clues, people would have a far different opinion. So yeah, I do think that, look, I agree with one portion of what you say, which is that never attribute to stupidity or to maliciousness, what could be attributed to stupidity. But I've already conceded I don't think you're a stupid man. So what am I left with when somebody says they wanted revenge, right? Occam's razor, simplest explanations, usually the correct one.
Right. So the problem with that is that twofold. First of all, there were other reasons that I wanted to list. So, you know, let's just say I granted that you have some reason to suspect I'm lying. Let's just say I granted that. You would still have to consider all the reasons in favor of the hypotheses that I was not lying, which I do have. I think I could provide good reasons I haven't yet gotten out that motivate hypotheses that I wasn't lying.
Why didn't you just start with the best reasons then?
Why didn't I start with the best reasons?
Yeah, why didn't you just start with the best reasons that you have and then make the defense from that? Why would you start with the worst reasons you have and then make a defense from that, or the ones that aren't the best? Why?
Because that
makes no sense. That's bizarre.
Well, it's not too bizarre. I was just not optimally organized. If you couldn't tell in the beginning of the debate, I was like scrambling to find. I have like there's Google slides of like.
But you had like weeks to prepare for this, and I even told you what I was going to be attacking. Like I was so good faith, I even told you what my attack methods were going to be and the
I take
mechanisms.
responsibility. I'm a mess. I have ADHD. I can't organize myself properly. But you asked why I conduct myself in this non-optimal way. I just provide the explanation. I'm a mess. I've ADHD. I open a Google Slides and I just throw down my thoughts in no systematic way. And then when it comes to debate time, I'm just scrambling to find like the best points to make in response.
Yeah, but do you see what I mean? It's like, even then, I don't know why the ADHD would account for why you didn't lead with your best reasons. That's just silly to me. I don't know. Like, I led with my best reasons. You know, like, I don't know.
I didn't organize all the reasons I've listed in order. Like, that would require organization I just don't have.
Mighty Maximus came in and sent 20, which we really appreciate. Can't quite read it out, but we really do appreciate the 20. K. Carnes said, Andrew, Bob, and Rattlesnake, what is your favorite pizza? It's okay to be quick. I'm just curious. I love pizza. Well, I love pizza too, and I'd say probably Hawaiian would be my favorite. What about you, Bob?
I don't know. I don't really care.
No, Bob. You have to answer the super chat.
Yeah, what's your favorite pizza?
Favorite flavor of pizza?
It's fucking plain pizza.
Plain pizza, like just the bread.
Just normal pizza. I don't.
Margarita.
Oh. Pepperoni and jalapeno for me. It's not a trap question, Bob. It's pepperoni and jalapeno for me. It really isn't. It's not like one of those like what do we say? What do we say all the time?
I think my position on pizzas, you're going to be able to tease out a contradiction from that. So I'm being vague on purpose.
See, that was a joke, Bob.
See
you
what
did
you
good
did there, Bob. Good.
Bob, you made it funny, Bob. You made it funny. You made it funny. So what's your
I'm the only
pizza?
one who's going to get shit for this because I said pineapple.
Yeah.
On my pizza.
You made it funny, Bob.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Imperial Cantina says, hey, Jake and Andrew, my pockets are a bit heavier than usual as today was my birthday, so figured I would spread some grift to both of you. I enjoyed meeting you both in Nashville. Cheers, friends. Well, I appreciate that. I like it when it's your birthday and you send me money.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
The grift continues.
Yeah, it's a real grift. Poor Man's Poet says, hey, Bob, what's the Urban Dictionary definition of cake boy? Don't know what that means. Saul
Cake
Jones said, what does it mean, Andrew?
It means like homo, basically, homosexual.
Okay. Bob, come to the dark side. You're way too brilliant to be a lib and simp, brother. We welcome you over here. Also, trust me, you can get ladies without simping. Please don't trash post Andrew anymore, though. Bob, are you trying to get some ladies?
I'm not I don't know where the simp idea came from. I'm definitely not a simp. I don't know where that. Oh, probably got that impression because I was like defending some of the whores that Andrew attacked. But no, I'm not a simp. I mean, very much like just abrupt and callous. I'm not. I would never simp and like, oh, I feel bad for. No, I'm not a simp.
Red pill? Red pill? Oh, no.
No, I wouldn't say I'm red pill.
Okay. Mighty Maximus says, Fidano, for 10. Talk Doctor, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, sir. Coleman says, I watched Andrew give this guy a swirly. I don't know what the hell a swirly is.
Coleman. Oh, you put someone's face in a toilet and then you flush it. So he's saying, like, I got wrecked in the debate. That's what he said.
Is it like an American bullying term or something like that? Weirdos. Another that said, cheers. Thank you to you too. Vatican says, you guys see, this is what No Child Left Behind gets you. Don't know what that means either. Smoked Tuna sends 10 New Zealand dollars, so it's probably about 3 cents. For Levra sends 10. Thank you very much, For Levra. Appreciate that. John says, Crucible needs to selectively cut original video and post it for the lols. That is inappropriate, John. Letty for 20 said, don't forget Rumble chats. Don't need to read out loud. I've already read them out loud. Now, Rachel Wilson, in regard to the disabled coat hanger conversation before, says the woman in question not only abused the mentally ill man, but she also confessed to making her husband unalive himself. You are wrong, Bob, and your motivation is envy. Repent. Now, I remember seeing this clip myself, actually, and I remember her laughing about it, saying he's mentally ill. And then later on, when she started getting pushback, then she started saying, I don't know if he's mentally ill. So I think if you watch the whole episode, like the whole 7 hours or so, you would be as disgusted, Bob. Yeah, you should actually watch it. It was pretty bad.
So two things. First of all, I don't know why she's pretending to be a psychologist. Like my motivation. Look, even if I'm completely wrong about this woman, where's my motivation is envy coming from? Where's that coming from? Second, like about this actual woman here. Yeah, if she confessed to making her husband like unalive himself, that's insane. So that if I missed that in the full clip,
How would you know, Bob? You watched all 13 minutes of the episode.
right? But I don't need to watch a whole clip to be able to determine who is right with respect to a particular argument.
I think you do, because you'd be lacking critical context from what happened before, right?
You didn't get. I don't think so, because I listened to you in the clip. I listened to you asserted some things about her, like that she's psychotic because she abused someone who was mentally ill. And then I'm like, okay, what was his motivations for that? And then when I heard your motivations, they didn't make reference to things that happened prior to the 13 minutes that I watched. You just referenced the fact that this guy has some sort of
why would I need to make pre-references to a person involved in the conversation?
That's not the point I was making.
Yeah, but the point I'm making was like, why would it be necessary for me to do that? And for you to say that you don't lack critical context in 6 hours of an episode because you watched a 13-minute clip is just fucking absurd, Bob.
It's really not.
It really is.
It would just depend on what the dispute is about. Like, if you guys could have debated
for this dispute, it's ridiculous, Bob.
So, okay, if it's ridiculous, what's the critical context I'm missing? Name it, go.
That when she launches in to the entirety of her story and is talking to the other girls about her story and is being cross-examined by several of them as more and more and more of it gets brought out, including more of the horrible things that she was doing. And it took hours to drive all of that out, Bob. It was not fast, and it was not done in 13 minutes.
That wasn't an answer. What was the information that's critical?
Well, like Rachel said, she said that she made this other guy unalive himself, for instance. There was other information that she gave before that. Now, remember, this a long time ago. I'm trying to go off the top of my head. But when she reveals all of the fucking things that she was doing in context, it took her hours to do that. And my lack of being able to remember every single specific of that does not negate that that's true. And also that you would not be able to get critical context from 13 minutes.
Is that before it as well, she was like really gleeful about it, laughing with the other girls.
Oh, I saw that.
It. And then after.
Oh, you saw that. You saw that she was super gleeful.
Right.
Way later than she.
But wait, Andrew, you really, just because someone's gleeful about like mistreatment of someone, that doesn't mean it's abuse.
Bob, you were willing to make the case that I'm not a very good guy, or I'm not a nice or a kind man.
Much a very kind man.
I'm not a kind man because I'm too gleeful about what you considered the mistreatment of somebody. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, in this particular case, it seems that when somebody is exuding what you consider to be glee about mistreating someone, you attribute that into the bad category.
Yeah, she's unkind, but that's not abuse.
Okay, so being unkind to people is not abusive?
Not necessarily. It has to, in order to abuse someone, you have to be unkind to a very large extent.
What extent is that? Just like whatever extent you feel is unkind enough, or? Because it seems like, is it abusive that I made that woman cry? Was that abusive?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it was cruel, but it didn't cross the line such that I never claimed about
cruel.
You. What?
I don't think it was cruel.
Okay, but realize that I never claimed of you that you abused women. I didn't claim that. I just claim that it's false that you're very much a very kind man, not that you abused anyone.
You still think it's false that I'm very much a kind man?
I'm really doubting that. Now I'm leaning more toward that you have a lot of integrity and that you're a good person.
Well, moving on, the next super chat comes from 10 and says, "Judge not that you be judged, for with what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." Bob, would you want to be judged by your standard?
I don't. What's the point he's making? Like, am I a hypocrite? According
to like, whatever measures you use to judge, you will be judged. Would you want to be judged by your own standard?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So Bob from Lamb Richard says, so if someone with mental illness gave consent to be abused, it's fine, right? Like it's fine to give a drug user a needle as long as he consents to use, right?
So there's a few different things going on there. And then also he's building into this case that there is abuse, right? He's saying if someone with mental illness consents to being abused, is that okay? But you're baking into that question that it's in fact abuse. But it's not analogous to what happened.
Okay, so if somebody has a mental illness, gave consent to have bad things happen to them, like, for instance, it's fine to give them a drug needle as long as they consent to that?
It would depend on the mental illness. I wouldn't immediately infer from the fact that they're mentally ill without more detail that you can't give them a drug.
Okay.
But well, let me just follow just real quick. Do you agree with me that the way that we would determine what is mentally ill would be aberrations in behavior from the norm? That's how you're going to determine mental illness generally.
Yeah, it's like not
because there's not really any other way to do it ultimately, right?
I just want to clarify aberration from the norm doesn't necessitate mental illness, but it's a good heuristic.
But that's the way that you're going to assess it because there's not really any other way to. If somebody's going cuckoo and eating their own poop, right? That's such an aberration from the norm. We are instantly going to be like, okay, there's mental illness involved here.
There's a bit more to it. I think it's like self-destructive behavior.
It doesn't always have to be self-destructive.
It doesn't have
mental
to.
illness.
If we're talking about like good heuristics for mental illness, yeah, aberration.
But it's always going to be aberration from the norm is how we're going to assess this, right?
No, not always, because I can imagine a situation in which, like, the majority of people are mentally ill.
Then how would you assess that they're mentally ill?
Because of the fact that they're engaging in like delusional and or self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, but if that's the norm, then the people who aren't doing that, they're the ones who are mentally ill, right?
So it's just going to depend on what we mean by mentally ill, right?
It's going to be, well, no, it's not going to depend on that. It's going to depend on whether or not the way that we would diagnose mental illness would be aberrations of normal behavior. I don't see any other way it could even be done. If 95% of us are delusional and believe in these delusions, the 5% who do not, they're going to be judgmentally ill by the 95%, right? As engaging in abnormal behavior. Who's to say who's mentally ill there? It's going to be the 95%, right?
Well, yeah, the 95% of people will say of the 5 that they're like mentally ill, but
they will in fact actually be, by the metrics we use for mental illness, mentally ill.
So what are I don't think the only metric we use is aberration from the norm. I think
what else do we use?
Like
there's no physical diagnosis for almost any mental illness that I'm aware of. Almost none. I think,
like, obviously self-destructive behavior is a very good proxy for mental illness.
Which is an aberration of the norm.
Right, but what I'm saying is that even if it wasn't, if tomorrow 51% of people started to have like delusional and dangerous beliefs that were obviously destructive, they would still be mentally ill, even though they're...
That's silly. Like if you go to an African country where they stretch their necks, that's clearly self-destructive, but the people who aren't stretching their necks, they're going to consider it to be an aberration of the norm and mentally ill, right?
Right. What's that a counter to?
Well, it's just saying that self-destruction itself, if everybody's engaging in self-destructive behavior, the people aren't are going to be the abnormal ones. That's how we would gauge what's meant. I don't see another way to do it. Like I've talked to a ton of psychologists. This is how they do it, right? It's like you're not engaging in what is considered normal behavior, regular normal behavior. That's how we assess there's a problem. Like people who stay in bed all fucking day, that's not normal, right? People who fucking are sad all the time, that's not normal, right? It's just always an aberration from the norm.
Last point, then we'll move on.
So I don't think we're actually having a substantive disagreement. I think we're just using mental illness to refer to different things here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think it's substantive. I think you kind of agree with me here. So the thing is like knowing that what was engaging in there is such an aberration from the norm. It's such a detachment from the normal behaviors of human beings that when it's said that it's also assumed by this person there's mental illness, inferring abuse in that case seems to be very obvious, right? I mean, it seems really obvious. Now, it may be the case that it's in fact not true, but it seems obvious to make that conclusion, right?
So you could infer that this dude was mentally ill. I'm not sure about
like she did. Like she did.
Like she did. But first of all, I wouldn't trust her judgment. She seemed mentally ill herself. Would you not agree with that? She seemed nuts.
How could you make that judgment?
I said it seemed. I didn't say
exactly. And you know what's really funny is the assessment that you just made to assume she was mentally ill is the same assessment that I made that this mentally ill person who's engaging in this abnormal behavior with this guy was abusive. That not only doesn't seem like much of a leap, but it seems obvious.
No, because you were confidently asserting like he's mentally ill. You were like very confident in your assertion of that.
Because she even said she suspected herself.
All right, let's get through the rest of them, guys. I reckon it's getting a little bit
value.
Getting a little bit circular here. So,
wait, she's retarded.
Kitty
Why do you say what she
for
said?
10 says, "What's extremely unkind is taking a man unable to take care of himself, her words, and using him as a coat rack and a footstool. Would you feel that way if a man did it to a woman?" So would you feel that way if a man was doing the exact same thing to a woman and he said, this chick's like mentally ill and she's like my coat rack and everything? Make her sleep on the floor?
If the exact like thing that this woman on the podcast said was reversed and it was a man, no issue. No issue.
No issue? Okay.
And also, wait, I want to clarify one thing with respect to this question. She actually is, I think even Andrew might concede this, putting this man in a better position than he would be if left to his own devices, because he can't take care of himself. And this woman was providing him housing, food, right? Now that isn't inconsistent with abuse. Andrew could maintain both, that she's putting him in a better overall position while still abusing him. But I don't even think Andrew would dispute that with respect to someone that can't take care of themselves, which is this guy, then he may actually be overall in a better position in her house with her money. And
if a man goes to the Philippines and goes to a brothel where they have 12-year-olds and marries her and gets her out of the brothel, you wouldn't argue that she's in a better position, would you?
I hate giving this answer repeatedly, but it would just depend on what the new position that this woman's in.
Well, this new position, she's married to this guy. She only has to have sex with the one guy instead of having sex now with dozens of men daily.
Yeah, why is she not in a better position?
So then the most moral thing that you could probably do for these brothels in these areas is marry the underage prostitutes so that they're out of that position. That's the more moral position, right?
No, I'm conflating two things. There's what's the right thing to do, which is not to marry an underage girl, obviously. And then there's with respect to their own girl's experience, which is better. The former situation where they're married to one dude is going to be better.
Shouldn't she do what's better? And if that guy had no motivation to marry her, other than the fact that he wanted this thing and that gives her a better life, how is he not doing a good action then?
It's a good question, but I thought about this and I have a good answer.
I can't wait to hear it.
I think you're going to agree. It's wrong to do something that's overall good if there's clearly something that you could do that is way better than the other thing that's okay. I'll give an analogy. If you could, all else is equal, so it's not going to cost you resources. So you can't like bar the analogy I'm using with like, oh, but what if this crazy thing? If you, to no expense to yourself, could save 5 orphans or 1,000 orphans from being killed. If you save 5 orphans, that's better than having saved none. But given that you could have saved like a few thousand, and if you pick between those two to only save 5, that's clearly the wrong thing to do.
Okay. So then, the most moral thing that this woman could have done and what she should have done, right, is not have treated this guy as a coat rack and this and that, who's unable to take care of himself, who she suspected was mentally ill. So she was doing the wrong thing.
Sure.
So even if it's the case that he was in arguably a better position from your perspective, you just negated that position by saying she's still doing the wrong thing. Do you understand that now? Hang on.
What?
Do you understand that now? You did. You negated your own position that if there's a higher thing that she could have done, she's still engaging in the immoral action, even if he's in a better position. So I don't know why you use that as an argument.
Right, because I'm not making the claim that what she's doing is like morally good. And if I did, that wasn't like
No,
an
you
issue.
were creating a justification. Even Andrew wouldn't disagree that this guy's in a better position. However, who cares? Even if that's the case, why make the argument unless you're creating it as a justification? Because you were. What you're doing now, though, is the second I ask about the other situation, which is similar, you say, no, that's still a moral bad. So in this case, it would still be a moral bad. She should not be engaging in it by your own metric here. So if that's the case, why do we give a shit if he's in a better position exactly? Why? So why bring that up as an argument? Why?
Twofold. First of all, I'm not making the claim that what she's doing is good. I'm making the claim that it's not abuse. So that's what I'm really concerned with. But also, why would I bring this up? That was your question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm addressing this person's characterization of the situation.
Yeah, but your argument, the characterization was to create a justification because this person's now in a better position, arguably in a better position. And yet when that's tested, you would say that that's actually the immoral thing to do, regardless of if they're in a better position, which makes it a really either a poor argument or an argument which you were trying to use a justification that just got negated when put to cross-examination.
No, so it wasn't an argument. I wasn't trying to make a positive case.
It was to a fucking argument. You said even Andrew would concede this guy is arguably in a better position. How's that not an argument? You're arguing that he's in a better position. Yes, it's an argument.
I was asserting that, and I thought you would agree with that assertion.
Okay, man.
All right, next one. We've got Toasted says, wait, if Andrew is a hypocrite because he has been a hypocrite in the past, doesn't that mean Andrew is right about calling Bob a liar, seeing as though Bob has lied before?
Yes, correct. I made that point.
Obviously, but the claim in this debate isn't am I a liar wholesale? It's did I lie about the clips I presented in the Andrew debate?
Airborne Animal said, why is Bob's nose moving / shrinking / growing? Is he using a filter or do I have a gas leak in my house?
I'm not using a filter. What's probably happening is if you saw over the course of the debate, I drank like tons of energy drinks and then that makes me sweat. So the sweat and like the contrast with the light is going to make my face appear differently. And yeah, that's what it counts
How
for.
many energy drinks did you drink during the debate?
3 Red Bulls, 2 Celsiuses.
Holy moly, bro. You got to watch that shit.
I do. I have a caffeine problem.
Do you drink Red Bulls, Jake?
No, it's petrol.
Do you drink energy drinks?
Occasionally, I guess.
Well, then, now Bob drinks energy drinks, and you told him not to. You fucking hypocrite.
I fucked up, boys.
I'm fucked
sorry.
up. You fucking hypocrite.
If you're taking a
hypocrite
shot at me, obviously, so I want to respond. If Jake here was to say, well, take Merriam-Webster's definition of a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite according to that account of hypocrisy. Then he's fucking himself over because it just turns out he is. So, and that's what you did. You said, go with Merriam-Webster. How am I a hypocrite according to that standard? And then I showed you that you were, but then you merely objected that it was only like once or twice.
No. That wasn't my objection. My objection is that you never made an actual case for how I was espousing values I myself did not follow. Only that there could be an instance in where during a debate, I said I answer questions and then didn't. These are not moral positions or values that I'm espousing. That was actually one of the more ridiculous arguments that you made, honestly. And but my whole point was to say, even if I grant this, the criticism is still weak. It's still just a weak criticism, ultimately.
No, you did meet the definition of the Merriam-Webster's criteria.
No, I didn't. There's no beliefs you've shown that I espouse that I myself believe and then don't follow. Never. You never showed any. Never.
We do have to move on, guys, because I've got to leave in about 10 minutes. Beggar Vance sent 20. Thank you very much. Rallian said, I'm not stupid. I just have ADHD and can't organize, quote. Like it, that's so much better. Jake is an absolute himbo and is still smarter than this guy. And then we've got Eric who says, Bob looks like Nick Fuentes if he was a moron and had acne. Do you get Nick Fuentes a lot, Bob?
I do. That's like the 5th time I received it.
And he says, Bob agreeing to this debate is an example of mental illness. And then DJ Blakers says, Bob, so by your standards, if I tell my wife to beat me, she's not abusive if she does.
Yeah, how is that abuse?
John says, can you guys link the whatever episode in the pinned comment or description, please? It might be useful. Bob, this woman cried crocodile tears because she realized no one there could or would defend her cruelty. W. Andrew 07.
Yeah, that was no violation of my values nor of kindness, as far as I'm concerned.
Isaiah sent 20 and said, Bob, the biggest takeaway for you from tonight's debate is that you held a lot of beliefs about Andrew that were false. Careful who you go after half-cooked, because you have to use logic, not editing, to prove your claims. Any response to that, Bob?
Biggest takeaway is that I held false beliefs about Andrew. I got cooked. I have to use logic, not editing. I don't detect an argument. I don't detect nothing to respond to.
Okay. Cole Morrison said, Jake, respect for the pineapple pizza choice. Real, recognize real. Bob, even if one consents to a shaming ritual like this guy, in your opinion, is it abuse for her to participate in the given consent?
No.
Ty Perp for 10 says, does this kid know of JF? If yes, what are his opinions on JF and his girlfriend?
Who's JF?
I have no idea. But anyways, guys, that rounds it off. That's all that's all we've got to go through tonight. Bob, thank you for coming on. At least, there's a lot of hit pieces out there, but not all of them actually face the music. 99% of them actually don't face the music. So well done in that regard. Andrew, thank you very much for your time as well. Any closing thoughts, fellas?
Hope you make a bunch of money, Jake.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Any closing thoughts, Bob?
No, I appreciate the debate. And yeah, it's true. Most critics won't come on and actually defend their criticisms. And yeah, so I mean, that's I guess the nicest thing I'll say. But it's like, just remember too, the charitable nature of the person who you said all that horrible fucking shit about was still willing to have you come on and have this discussion with you. And I was very kind to you throughout this entire fucking discussion. So it's like, maybe you have the wrong idea, and just try to remember, Bob, there are human beings behind the camera. I'm actually a person. I'm not just an effigy to be attacked.
Okay, so I'm not going to respond to that. I think I already made it clear how I'm revising my position about your character, but my closing statement is going to be, with respect to Andrew and his character, the more I interact with Andrew, the more I like him, the more I see I was wrong in my negative assumptions about him, and that he has a lot of integrity, and I want to give him a lot of credit. For one, and I noticed this even prior to his debate with me, he does not back away from debates. And I'm not saying this to appease Andrew. This is not for him. I don't really care if he appreciates what I'm saying or not. I want to give him, I really believe in credit where credit's due. And I noticed he does not back away from debating heavy hitters. And I think that's something to be complimented. So that's the first thing. Also, I have to admit, and I don't want to admit this, but Andrew did do better on the logical front than I thought. I am surprised that he did catch me in that one contradiction. I don't think it was 4, but yeah, I want to compliment his logical capacities. I think he did better than I gave him credit for, and better than I assumed he would do.
Fuck, people think I'm stupid. Do you think it's just do you think that they really believe the OnlyFans shit? Like Andrew only debates OF girls?
No.
Sometimes I think, not you specifically, Bob. I'm just this is just me musing out into the ethos.
Dude. It's your face.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then some of these guys will get in the arena with me, just get fucking torn. I'm not even talking about you, Bob. I'm just saying some people will get in the arena and have this assumption and just get torn to fucking pieces. And then I could see the look on their face. They're like, what the fuck? This wasn't supposed. And I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? It's just weird to me. But look, Bob, I appreciate it. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. You guys have a good night.
All right. Take care, fellas. See you later. Till next.